All right, let's get it. Let's get it. Okay. Last week was bad, but it was 1 week, right? We're still 2-1. I mean, Joe Burrow's hurt for 3 months, but you know, like Jake Browning's done it before, so. And I'll be completely honest, and yes, I'm coping, but I'll be completely honest, like, you know, if it hadn't been for all the turnovers against the Vikings, which I know that's a hell of a thing to say, but genuinely, if it hadn't been for all the turnovers against the Vikings, that would have been actually a pretty competitive game. Like, the Bengals offense wasn't doing too bad, except for, you know, giving the ball back to the Vikings, like, constantly. But it wasn't because they were getting stopped. It was because, there were a couple instances of that. But for the most part, it was because, you know, they kept giving the ball away on stupid plays. And, you know, and a couple of those went for touchdowns. And then the game just broke wide open. And but, like, if you really go back, like, I mean, like, the whole time, up until it just started getting ridiculous, y'all remember, I was like, I mean, the Bengals could totally come back and win this thing. They're looking pretty okay, other than all these freaking turnovers. And, like, you know, I've seen enough games in the Joe Burrow era, and this is Jake Browning, but I've seen enough games in the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase era, how about that, where they've, you know, come back from, like, disastrous starts and been able to figure it out. So that's why I was thinking last week that, you know, it's not over till it's over, right? Until it was clearly over at a certain point. It was just like, okay, this is obviously over. You know, there's no point. That's why I put the money on the Vikings and, you know, won $70, which made me feel slightly better about the loss last week. But again, the thing that makes me feel the best about it is the fact that it was 1 freaking week. Our defense still looked pretty solid. You know, it wasn't our defense's fault we got blown out in that game. The offense just needs to, you know, tighten a few things up, and, you know, they should be pretty competitive. We're up against the Broncos team that's also been going through it. Not, you know, 5 turnovers against the Vikings, 2 of which go for touchdowns going through it, but they've been going through it, you know, overthrows and all that. So, yeah, this one could really go either way. I don't think anybody would think anybody's crazy for predicting one team or the other. You know, I've seen people predicting it both ways. So last week was pretty bad, though. But we'll see. And then Jeff, I'm glad you're here. They better do better than last week. I think they will. I really do genuinely think they will do better than last week. Let me see if I can make those comments a little bit bigger. Whoa. Apparently I'm going to have to move those up if I'm going to make them bigger. Make those a little bit bigger. They better do better than last week. And I agree. They really have to. If they don't do better than last week, then I think we can just all go ahead and just throw our hands up and be like, well, that was a fun off season, and the first 6 quarters of the season were pretty fun, but, you know, there's always next year, which is, if you're a Bengals fan, you know those words pretty well. So, but I think they beat the Broncos today. I really do. They were saying this on the Bengals pregame show on CBS Channel 9, and I kind of agree with them. Like, you know, in recent like in Zach Taylor's tenure, the Bengals, when they have their backs against the wall, have done a pretty good job of coming through. And, you know, they're generally pretty good against the Broncos lately. So we'll see exactly what happens, obviously. But, you know, I think that there's a pretty decent chance. You know, I also think, unfortunately, there's also a pretty decent chance that they, you know, shit the bed and we end up 2-2, and then we look at the rest of our schedule and we're like, man, we blew. Like, we finally got off to that 2-0 start we've always been hoping for, and then we blew the next 2 games to basically just put ourselves in the same fucking situation as we've been in previous years. So that would really suck if we were 2-2, because then you're really starting to think that there's a really good shot that they can't pull it together to make the playoffs. Unless, I will say, like, you know, we've been looking at that Packers game all year. And like up to this point in the season, last, you know, month or so, we've been looking at that Packers game, and we're like, wow, that one, that one's probably a loss. We've been looking at that Lions game. Like, that one's probably a loss. And I'm not going to lie, that Lions game is still probably a loss. The Packers game, I would say it really just kind of depends on which Bengals team is they're looking like at this point. If they can beat the Broncos and they can come out strong against the Lions, I mean, the Lions are 3-1. And they've been playing a little bit better than they did in week 1. But, the Lions have looked, mortal. They struggled with the Ravens, who otherwise haven't looked good this year. So I mean that I think you can, if depending on which Bengals team shows up against the Lions, maybe we can steal one in that one. And then I don't know that, like, I've been saying, oh, the Packers are looking scary, but I don't know, are they? Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was kind of rooting a little bit for the Cowboys in that game. Not that hard. I don't really care that much. But just because, like, Packers, it seems like the worst thing that ever happens to the Packers is that they, lose a lot to the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. And that's the big, like, our hearts are broken as Packers fans thing. Like, they need a little bit of, humbling. And, I think trading for Micah Parsons and then him barely doing anything against the Cowboys and, getting off to a hot start and then cooling off and then, they still kind of just look like the same team, once everything kind of settles down. After all the shit they talked, I want to emphasize that's a big part of it. After all the shit they talked, that would be pretty funny, right? And not that everybody loves Cowboys fans or whatever, but I think Cowboys fans have been sufficiently humbled pretty well over the last, 20 years at this point. Like yes, Cowboys fans are still annoying, but every fan base can be annoying. Look at the way the Titans fans got when they were, briefly successful when Derrick Henry was there, and you had, Mike Vrabel. It was, at that peak of the Titans, and their fans were pretty annoying at the time. I don't know if most people consider the Titans to be a particularly annoying fan base, but I think everybody agreed at the time Titans fans are getting a little fucking annoying here. Look at Bengals fans. Obviously, we got annoying as hell. When things were looking really, really, really good at the, early on in, the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase experiment. And I'll be the first to admit, Bengals fans were getting pretty cocky there. And we had never really tasted a chance, a real shot at, high caliber success like that before. And maybe you could make the argument that, those late 80s teams, the one late 80s team was a really good example of that. But, I mean, half of the fan base wasn't even alive for that one at this point. So, maybe not half the fan base, but, a solid chunk of the Bengals fan base wasn't even alive for that 88 Super Bowl run. I know I wasn't. I wasn't, I was born a couple years later, but I wasn't alive in 88, and, even if I was alive in 88, even if I had been born a few years earlier, I wouldn't have remembered it at all. So, I lost track of what I was talking about. But point being, I think that the Bengals' chances of winning today are, higher than people have been acting like. People have been acting like the Bengals are just completely, up shit creek at this point, and they might kind of be without Joe Burrow, but, they're still a talented football team otherwise, and the defense has been better without Golden as the defensive coordinator. Not phenomenally better, but better, and the offensive line's still kind of up and down, but I think the offensive line gets... At this point, I think that people blaming the offensive line for things is a bit of a cop-out. I think the offensive line's mostly fine. Maybe Orlando Brown isn't playing as well as his, highly publicized contract would argue to be worth, but he's a perfectly fine left tackle. Amarius Mims is still, a really potentially high-caliber right tackle. Ted Karras may not be the best blocker at this stage in his career, but he's an okay blocker, and he's also a really great leader. I don't know what to think about Dalton Reisner at this point. There was a lot of hype about him coming in, and it hasn't really been fulfilled so far. But then you got the new guy at left guard, Dylan Fairchild, who's been looking pretty solid. So, as frustrating as our offensive line can be at this point, it's still probably the best the offensive line's been in a while. So, I don't know. I like this team is not a Super Bowl team without Joe Burrow, but they might be able to poke along enough to like get in the playoffs once Joe Burrow is back. And if once they're in the playoffs, like the Bengals have already proven it. Like if they're in the playoffs, they can go on a run, right? Like they like in the 2 times, which is depressing to say, but the 2 times they've made the playoffs in Joe Burrow's career, they went to the AFC Championship both times, and one of the times they won it. So I don't know. I'm not ready to throw in the towel just yet. Even if we lose today, I'm not ready to throw in the towel. I'll definitely be getting pretty nervous if we lose today. But it's also still, week 5 or whatever. I'm sorry, it's week 4 because today's Monday. It's like all the week 4 games are over except for this one. And I guess the Jets Dolphins game is still going on. Like Dolphins are winning but 10-0, but I'll be honest with you, like other than like Tyreek Hill having a few good plays, like didn't look that impressive to me, but it's also the Jets, so I don't fucking know. I got Justin Fields as my fantasy quarterback, so I saw him making a few good plays. I don't really care if the Jets win or not, but maybe Justin Fields gets, some fantasy points. That'd be nice. Hope 2 weeks with Jake getting first team reps helps. It might. I ordered a shirt, and it hasn't come in yet, but I look forward to when it comes in. And I really hope that things are going better for the Bengals at that point, because it's kind of, I love the quote from Jake Browning, and I really hope he can back it up, because I love the quote. He's saying you need to be a little delusional, so I bought a Bengals themed shirt that said "Be delusional," and I'm probably gonna wear it at some point during the season, regardless of how they're doing. Maybe it might be even more appropriate if they're doing poorly, and I'll just wear the "Be delusional" shirt. I don't know. I feel like if things get bad enough, maybe that's just my theme for the year is be delusional. Oh, what? We're like 3-8 right now? Fucking be delusional. We could still finish 9-8 and sneak into the playoffs. You never know. It's always possible. Hey, John. What's going on? What's going on, Connor? The Ravens game yesterday was so bad for them. Dude, the Ravens suck. The Ravens suck. Like, they've always been so overrated for so many years, and it's because Lamar Jackson is a fucking cheat code. But Lamar Jackson also has weaknesses that, for whatever reason, the NFL hasn't really figured out, even though, like, the blueprint's out there. I've said many times on my channel, like, how to beat Lamar Jackson. And every once in a while, you'll see, like, the Bengals get out there, and they'll do it well, and then just, like, no other defensive coordinator in the NFL picks up that pattern. And even the Bengals don't always pick it up, like, consistently. So, obviously not enough because Lamar Jackson has a phenomenal record against us, but, it's also not really my point. Evening, Jay. Here's hoping Jake redeems himself and can get the ball to those great offensive weapons. Note on the offensive weapons, it sounds like Noah Fant's not going to be playing today. So, not that he's been a huge factor this year anyway, but that's unfortunate to see because he is a high caliber potential weapon, former first round pick. So might be slightly unfortunate not to have him. But then again, we have good depth at tight end, so if Noah Fant's not in there, it's like you got other guys like Tanner Hudson, and like Drew Sample always shows up, and Drew Sample's not like a phenomenal option to have out there, particularly as a pass catcher. He's a decent blocker, but as a pass catcher, Drew Sample's obviously not the guy you want out there. But every once in a while, like when he's out there, like you'll see him 8 or 9 times a year, he'll be showing up and making like a play you didn't expect out of him. It's like, all right, Drew Sample, okay. So he's always an option, and like if you leave him open, he'll make it work. That O-line needs to help a brother out. The O-line situation with Jake Browning is interesting because they're used to blocking for Joe Burrow, who invites the pressure, and I don't think Jake Browning likes the pressure very much. He's definitely not Joe Burrow. So he might be a little delusional, but not delusional enough to think that getting hit by a 350-pound defensive lineman is going to feel good. I don't know why Joe Burrow thinks it will, but it seems to think it does when it happens. I don't know. He must be a masochist. I don't know. Shirt sounds cool. Yeah, I also got a Cincinnati Mighty Ducks hat. Not really a hockey guy, but the Mighty Ducks, particularly the Cincinnati Mighty Ducks, have had one of the coolest brand design schemes that I remember from when I was a kid. In the Anaheim, it was based on the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. I just thought the Cincinnati Mighty Ducks kind of had a cooler vibe going on. But maybe it was because it was Cincinnati and I'd never been to California. I've still never been to California. Well, I don't know. No Mikey tonight? No, not for Bengals games, John. That's only on Thursdays. That's only on Thursdays because we do the podcast on Thursdays. Mikey is not... Mikey is still his own thing. He's not I'm not bringing him on as like a partner on the channel, right? Like he's on I do a show and he's one of my correspondents, and then we do a podcast together. And I really like working with Mikey, but this is still primarily my channel. So the Bengals game is going to be me. I'm not going to be doing Saints games on this channel. If the Bengals or the Saints play on Thursday night, we'll probably stream that together. But because it's the podcast night, right? Yeah. It's just I like working with Mikey, but the Bengals games are. I don't even think he'd be all that interested in streaming the Bengals games. Other than just being interested in streaming football, I think he likes doing that. But I mean, that'd be asking a lot for him to do basically 3 streams a week, right? Because he's got to do a Saints stream, and then to ask him to do Bengals streams too, and then on top of that, we do the Thursday night streams. That'd be a lot of streaming, especially for he's 16. He's got a lot going on. All right, so the first kickoff is away. The Bengals are going to return the ball, and Charlie Jones makes a guy miss and gets it out to about the 31-yard line before he gets tackled. So that was a pretty decent return there by Charlie Jones. All right. Delusion time. Time for Jake Browning to come out and set the NFL on fire by posting a perfect passer rating. That is my official prediction. Yep. I'm not even going to knock on wood. You know why? Because I feel like when I do that, I actually jinx the Bengals. So I feel like I just need to stop knocking on wood because it doesn't seem to actually work very well for me. All right, so from the pistol formation, Jake Browning is in the pistol. I already said that. He's got Cam Grandy and Chase Brown in the backfield. It's going to be a play-action pass, and that's going to overthrow Chase Brown there. Probably for the best, though, because Chase Brown was getting chased down there. Chase Brown was getting chased down. That's an interesting thing to say there. But that would have been a tackle for a loss if it had been a completion. So it's probably best that it just maybe he threw it away on purpose. It appears to be a flag on the Broncos, by the way. I did not see what the flag was. And it doesn't look like they're going to explain it. So maybe I can bring it up in the box score. Hopefully I don't spoil the game for myself. It's a little easier lately, but... defensive holding, apparently, on Pat Surtain. So that gives the Bengals... It does give the Bengals a first down. 1st and 10 from the 35. Jake Browning's going to take the shotgun snap. He's going to throw to Jamar Chase, who gets a wide receiver screen, and absolutely nothing happens there. That was dumb. A Saints play at the same time... Saints play at the same time as the Bengals a lot. Yeah, that's the other thing. It would be unrealistic for us to stream all the Bengals and Saints games because they do games at the same time. Now, obviously, they don't tonight, so theoretically he could, but it's just, not. It's actually a yard loss on the play, but yeah, it's not, I don't think it's realistic. Yeah. Jake Browning's going to take the shotgun snap, and this time he finds a man. Chase Brown makes a guy miss and almost gets loose for the first down. There is a flag in the backfield. Not in the backfield, but it's going to be behind the play, though. So I'm wondering if it's going to be holding on the Bengals, which would just absolutely piss me right the hell off. Because of course it would be. Did they wave the flag off? I think they might have waved the flag off, actually. Well, that's nice. Okay. Yeah, they just waved the flag off. So it's a 9-yard pass to Chase Brown, and that works out quite nicely. All right. 3rd and 1. All right, come on. Okay, coming out in shotgun formation. You got Samaje Perine in the backfield this time. And this is going to be a quarterback sneak. And it looked like he was initially denied, but he kept his body moving. And I think he got the first down. So, there you go. There you go. The Broncos did get to him at first, but Jake Browning managed to stay up enough to be able to fall forward. So that works out. I do like seeing the quarterback sneak. The Bengals don't do it enough when they really should. Like, feels like they try to have a lot of gotcha situations on 3rd and 1. And that's not what we need. So the Bengals offense is very slowly but steadily moving the ball. All right, so it's going to be a handoff. Chase Brown, he gets through a hole and doesn't get a whole lot after that, but, it's going to be about a 3-yard run, which could have been nothing, so I guess take what you can get. Bengals running game has been atrocious this year. It's actually going to be a 4-yard run, excuse me. But the Bengals running game has, frankly, been absolutely atrocious this year. I don't know what the exact stats on it are, but they got to be near the bottom of the league. Figure it out after this play. So you got the strong eye formation here. Jake Browning's going to be play action, and he's going to wind up. He's going to throw it deep, and he had Jamar Chase, but it's just a little underthrown, and that gives the Broncos defensive back a chance to knock that ball away. That's unfortunate. Was that Jahdae Barron? It was either Jahdae Barron or Devon Key. I didn't quite get a perfect look at the number. Oh, it wasn't either of them. It was Riley Moss, actually. No, good Lord. It was Brandon Jones. I just basically named the entire Broncos roster before I found the actual player. But very good play by Brandon Jones, but it was also not really the best pass by Jake Browning either. So, annoying. All right. So it's going to be 3rd and 6 now from the 50. And this would be a... All right, it's going to be a throw to T. Higgins, who goes up all the way, climbs the ladder to heaven, and brings it down. That's the A.J. Green style right there for you, man. You got to love T. Higgins, man. He's like the reincarnation of A.J. Green. And to have him as your number 2 receiver, that's special. That is something that you just love seeing. He just... Absolutely. He saw Riley Moss there, and he was just like, excuse me, little guy. And he just, jumped right over him to go get that pass. That was not... it wasn't a bad pass by Jake Browning, considering you're throwing the ball to T. Higgins, so maybe it was on purpose, but definitely was not perfectly on target. All right, pocket collapsing. Jake Browning does get rid of it, though. He's got Mitchell Tinsley, and that's going to be for a 9-yard gain, and that's another Browning to Tinsley connection. Maybe we should see more of Mitchell Tinsley playing, because it seems like him and Jake Browning work well together. I'm not saying Mitchell Tinsley should be replacing anybody, but if Jake Browning's playing, you might have a better shot with Mitchell Tinsley, just because it seems like those guys got a bit of a psychic connection going on there. All right, so now it's going to be 2nd and 1, and the Bengals offense is set up well here. Jake Browning from the 22-yard line. It's going to be a handoff to Chase Brown. He's got a hole up the middle, and he managed to pick up about 5 yards before he's brought down. Nice job there. So they're trying to get Chase Brown going, which is nice, because I was correct, by the way. They are dead last in the NFL. Now, okay, actually, that's probably not fair. I was going to say they're dead last in the NFL in rushing, but, they're also them and the Broncos are the only teams that haven't had any rushing stats for the most part at all this week. So maybe yards per carry would be a better one. And they're still dead last. Hell yeah, let's go. That sucked. All right, it's going to be another handoff to Chase Brown, who, there you go. That's another situation where it was looking like he was going to get tackled in the backfield, and he manages to make a cut and get a couple of yards. So it's going to be 2nd and 8 instead of 2nd and 12. That's better than nothing, I guess. But that's a lot of what the running game's been this year. It's been Chase Brown getting swarmed in the backfield, because I don't know, sometimes it looks like blocking, but sometimes it's just unblocked guys, so it must be play calling. And just Chase Brown doesn't have a chance half the time, Jake Browning shotgun snap. He throws. It's caught by T. Higgins, and he almost breaks out of a tackle. Can't quite do it, but still picks up about 4 or 5, probably 5 yards on that play. It's going to be 3rd and 2 after all that. So it's actually 6 yards. I just love how I'm always 1 yard off on where exactly they're spotting the ball. There's no rhyme or reason. Sometimes I undersell it for the Bengals. Sometimes I oversell it for the Bengals, and there's no consistency. But I'm almost, you can almost always bet whatever I say, I'm probably 1 yard off. I don't know which direction I'm off, but probably 1 yard off. All right, 3rd and 2 now from the 8-yard line. Offense set up well here. Jake Browning, shotgun snap, good pass protection, but he just sails it for T. Higgins. I don't know what he saw there. What are you doing, Jake? I don't like you had a pretty clean pocket. You know, you didn't have to throw that ball to T. Higgins, who wasn't anywhere near where you threw the ball. I mean, maybe he was hoping that not even T. Higgins going to climb that ladder. That was maybe it was just as simply maybe it was just frankly it was an overthrow and he didn't mean to throw it that high. I don't know, but not that high, but that far. Maybe he meant to throw it not as far. I don't know. He is a backup quarterback. All right, 26-yard field goal attempt for Evan McPherson. Kick is up, and the Bengals take the early 3-0 lead. And once again, it looks somewhat like last week. You know, hopefully we're not going to turn the ball over 5 times this week, but you know the offense looks about like what they were last week. And I based my score prediction today based off of pretty much how they looked last week without the turnovers. Because you can't really predict turnovers, right? But like my gut tells me the Bengals should win this game. Does that mean they will? I don't know. But if they play like this all day and the defense plays like I think they should, then they've got a pretty solid chance of winning, right? You know, maybe not settling for field goals on every drive, but based on the way last week went, I'm just happy to see them putting points on the board, you know? Houday Nation Unite. Let's go, Leather Turkey. An excellent throw by Jake and an even better catch by Higgins. Yeah, on that one play, and then, you know, that one to the end zone. I don't know what the hell Jake Browning was seeing there, but did you see the Reds made the playoffs? I did, Jeff. I'm shocked, honestly. Like, because they lost, right? Again, I don't really follow baseball, but like, as I understand it, they was like, oh, win and you're in. But then they lost, but also the Mets lost, and I guess the Reds must have had the inside track or something, so they still made the playoffs. It kind of reminds me of, like the Bengals and Broncos last year, right? Like the Bengals beat the Broncos, and, you know, they were, you know, really frankly the better team. But the Broncos, the Bengals couldn't, just due to some other mistakes that had happened in the year, the Bengals had shot themselves in the foot too much to really come back from, and the Broncos managed to put it together, like limp to the finish line. And I don't follow baseball, but that's the impression I get about the Reds, just because like all I hear about most of the time is how much they suck, how much they choke, et cetera, et cetera. And this is from local people. So again, I don't know what the deal is with the Reds. But my gut tells me that they probably aren't the better team of the two. But maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe the Mets suck too. But the Reds made the playoffs, and that's something to, I guess, get excited about. I don't know. Maybe I might watch a baseball game. I don't know. I might. I don't know if I'll watch that one. I don't know if I have the patience to watch a baseball game, but I might like tune in here and there. I do like listening to the Reds on the radio, like when I'm driving. I don't know if I'm going to be driving enough to be listening to a whole baseball game like I have in the past, just because I've got different things that I'm doing in my life anymore. I'm not really doing a whole lot of driving like I used to. But maybe, I don't know. I'll definitely, if I'm not doing anything else, I'll probably tune in. I got TV now, so I can put them on TV. At least put them on the background or something. On the road, taking the points is the right call at this point in the game. Yeah, especially with the way the offense was stalling out there. That was definitely the right call, Jay. No question about it. Evan McPherson's kickoff is away, and that is going to be, it's going to hit about the 2-yard line. And the Bengals are going to tackle him about the 30. And yeah, so that's Broncos are going to get about the 30-yard line where they're going to start. But yeah, Jay, with the Bengals offense was really fighting for every yard on that one, and it was looking like they were about to just kind of like not get the job done. So it's like when Joe Burrow's out there, you feel like every play you really have a chance, but like right now you kind of got to gauge what the offense is looking like, and you got to be strategic. That's the nice thing about Joe Burrow is like you don't have to be as strategic when you've got him under center. But I agree. Taking the points is definitely the right call there. From the 30-yard line, it's going to be a handoff to J.K. Dobbins, the Bengals' old friend from Baltimore. And he is... is that a fumble? Is that a fumble? I don't know. The Bengals said they had the ball, but the ref said that he was down. I'm sure with how confident the ref was there, I'm sure he probably was down. I'd like to see a replay. Bengals seemed pretty confident in saying that they had a fumble, so I don't know. It looks like we're not even going to get a replay, so whatever. The ref looked pretty confident, though, so I'll let that one go. All right, so the Broncos got the ball at the 33-yard line. It's 2nd and 7. Bo Nix is running around. He's got a lot of pressure that he's got to deal with there, but he does eventually get the ball off because he just runs away from it all, which is annoying. It seems like it happens a lot against the Bengals. Completes a pass, and so it's going to be 3rd and 1. All right, come on, defense. Can you get off the field here? That'd be something. If you get off the field here, you set the tone for the game. You know, I mean, maybe we win the game with a bunch of field goals, but win's a win. All right, 3rd and 2. I said 3rd and 1, but see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm always off by 1 yard, so it's 3rd and 2 now. So let's see what they choose to do here. I'm guessing it's going to be like a play-action pass if I had to bet, but we'll see. That's going to be a timeout by the Broncos. I guess they just didn't like the look. Maybe the Bengals are getting in their heads. I don't know. I doubt it, but I can dream. I can pretend, live in my fantasy world where the Bengals are good. Be delusional. That's the motto. Be delusional. There you go. Do like the Valley Girl cheer. Be delusional. Be delusional. Because to successfully be a Bengals fan, you really do have to be a little delusional sometimes. It was such an offhanded quote by Jake Browning, but I love it so much. I just absolutely love that quote by him. 3rd and 2. Let's see what they do. Like I said, I'm guessing play action, and I was wrong. It's a pitch, and the Bengals get in the backfield, and they tackle him for... Oh, they didn't quite get him for a loss, but they did. They definitely stopped him for 4th down, though. So there you go. Defense is going to get off the field here unless the Broncos are clinically insane. They're calling it 4th and 2, so he didn't even... I thought he might have gotten a yard after all that, but I guess not. Either way, at 4th and 2, I can't imagine they're going to go for it there, and from their own like 38-yard line or something. That'd be wild if they did. Be wild if they did. Like, wouldn't it be crazy if this was a fake punt that turned out to not actually have anything go right for them? Wouldn't that be awesome? And then we get like a big turnover, and that's not what's going to happen because he punts. Oh, well, I tried to speak it into existence. Charlie Jones is going to let that one bounce into the end zone. It's going to be a touchback. So, that, frankly, with the whole damn field to work with, the Broncos punter just... is there a flag on the play, though? What's the flag? Holding. It looks like it's going to be holding on the Broncos. Jake Browning is saying it's on the Broncos. So... holding... Oh, on the Bengals. Ew. Okay, so Jake Browning was pointing at the Broncos, but... Or, I don't know. I can't tell what they're saying. But Zach Taylor looks upset, so I'm guessing it's probably going to be on the Bengals. The Broncos don't look like they care, so I'm guessing it's probably on the Bengals. Holding on number 25, which sounds like it's probably a Bengals player. Hard to tell because I don't have the audio on. And they're not giving me any indication. Good Lord. Let me see if I can get the penalty on Taj Brooks, offensive holding. That's annoying. So the Bengals are going to get the ball at their own 10-yard line now because of that. They play at 9:05 p.m. my time. Who? The Saints? Or the Reds? The Reds, okay. Reds playoff game. Who are they playing? The Dodgers. They play tomorrow at 9:08. All right, bet. Let's go. All right, come on. What's that? Tuesday night. I'll be editing the recap show for that. So maybe I'll have it on in the background while I'm editing. I don't know. I'm gonna try to get that out. Wednesday morning. Hopefully I can get it out Wednesday morning. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how everything kind of goes. Me and Mikey did record yesterday, but we only recorded the power rankings part, so I still got to record my parts. But I'll probably do that after this game's over, unless we like have an overtime game that goes until like 1 a.m. In which case I'll be like, fuck it, dude. But never know. We'll see. My dad is not thrilled about the holding call. I'm not thrilled about the holding call. Like, I mean, I'm not, like, don't let me, let's see. My dad's keys to the game, by the way, just so y'all know. My Joe Phelps's keys to the game, because he's the authoritative person on this analysis, right? So no turnovers offensively. That's actually I think that's the key to the whole game. No offensive turnovers, we're fine. And he says get turnovers defensively. Yeah, like that'd be great. But like frankly, I think just no turnovers offensively. I think that's the key to the game. Based off of last week, like if you just don't turn the ball over on offense, you'll probably be all right. Especially the way this game's going, right? Like, you know, we put points on the board on the first drive and then get a 3-and-out by the defense on the second. Or was it a 3-and-out? Might not have been a 3-and-out. But either way, they forced a punt on the second drive. So defense playing well so far. Offense doing enough to get points. Just don't turn the ball over, and I think, you know, you can just kind of like, you know, matriculate this game into a win. I think you can. The fact that Condoleezza Rice is one of the Broncos owners is like Condoleezza Rice and the Walmart guy own the Broncos. That's wild to me. All right. There's going to be a handoff to Chase Brown, and that's a pretty good run there. He picks up about 5 yards, and I don't know if that was good run blocking or if it was good vision, but he cut like butter right up the middle before he got stopped by a linebacker. It's going to be 2nd and 5 now. Condoleezza Rice isn't happy about that. She's like, that was bad. All right, 2nd and 5. Great job by the Bengals D to force that punt. Sure was, Jay. What's up, Jeff Ward? Let's go, Jake. Hell yeah, let's go, man. Go, Jake. See what he does here, because it's shotgun formation. He's going to throw it up, and he's got... No, it's overthrown. Oh, but I think they're going to get pass interference. I think we're going to get pass interference, at least holding. I don't know if that was entirely catchable, but I think Riley Moss is going to get flagged for something here. Now, what he's going to get flagged for, I don't know, but that was... I don't think that ball was catchable. And once again, the broadcast, okay, it is pass interference, so I don't know, I didn't think the ball was catchable, but whatever. Let me see where the ball goes here. Yeah, he's definitely, oh no, that ball was definitely catchable. I'm wrong about that. That was clear pass interference. He's tugging Jamar Chase's jersey, pulling him off his route there. No question that's pass interference. All right, well, so the Bengals' holding penalty gets negated by Riley Moss's pass interference. And so that's going to give the Bengals the ball at the 37-yard line. Not bad. All right, it's going to be another handoff to Chase Brown. He goes forward up the middle. Doesn't really get very much. Just runs into a bunch of guys. And I think he dropped the ball, but I think that was after they called forward progress. So they're calling it 3 yards there. Happy Monday, Daniel Barry. Let's go. Let's go. All right, Bengals looking a lot better this week than they did last week. I'll tell you that. Just gotta keep doing what you gotta do. Don't be scared, but don't be careless either. 2nd and 7. Jake Browning under center takes a shotgun snap, and he's gonna throw. He's got Jamar Chase on the slant route, and he gets about 5 yards before he is tackled in a bit of a somersaulty type of way. Those types of tackles, like I know they're fairly common, but they always look like, and I'm not saying that the refs should call horse collar or anything here. I'm not trying to argue for that. I'm just saying, to me, They always look like something that would like normally be penalized, but I think it's a clean tackle. I'm not trying to say it should be penalized. I'm saying to my eyes in the initial moment, it always kind of looks like that to me. All right, from the 45-yard line now, it's 3rd and 2. Jake Browning is under center, and he's got Samaje Perine kind of at a half roll there. I don't know what you even call that formation. Jake Browning throws. He's too high for T. Higgins. That was just not even... What the hell dude, Jake, what are you doing, man? He was on Riley Moss, and he had leverage on him, and he could have gone up and gotten that, and... Oh, man. I think the Bengals are going to go for this here. I'm not sure I like going for it here. You only got a 3-point lead, and you don't want to give the Broncos momentum. You're on your own 45-yard line here. I'm not sure about this, man. Okay, well, whatever. We'll see. Jake Browning, and that's gonna be. I think they got him. I think they're gonna call it on the Bengals, or I think they're gonna call it on the Broncos, because the Broncos, they're pointing at the Bengals like there was a false start, but the Broncos guy who like jumped into fucking Canada on that play is really pissed. So I think he knows he's gonna get called, or at least I really hope so. So let's see let's see on the replay here. Yeah, the Broncos guy definitely jumps, and Amarius Mims reacts to it, which is exactly what causes it to be offsides. That's at the very least neutral zone infraction. That'll give the Bengals a first down. False start on Ted Karras. What? I didn't even see Ted Karras move. Hold on. Oh man. I think on the commercial I'm gonna go back and watch that. Ted Karras, bullshit. All right, whatever. All right, Rico's coming out, and he is going to punt that one away, and that's not a very good punt at all. What the fuck, Ryan Rico? What the hell kind of punt was that, dude? That's a 30-yard line. Good Lord. Like, I mean, he's a good punter, but sometimes he just shanks them. Like he's so up and down as a punter. Like, sometimes good, sometimes bad. I don't even know what to say about him. Let me go back and watch this false start, because I did not see at all. I did not see Ted Karras move. Okay, I'm not getting very good, like, controls here. We're on a commercial break right now, so that's why I'm doing this. Jay says ref screwed Cincy again on that bad penalty. I'm about to look at it, because I did not see Ted Karras move. The Broncos guy jumped way across the line, and Amarius Mims reacted to it. That's what I saw. Let's see. Ted Karras. What? I'm so confused. He put his head up. Like, isn't that normal? I like, how is that a penalty? Is that... I'm so confused. Ted Karras puts his... He's pointing around, looking down. And he points his head up. How was that? I really don't. Somebody's going to have to break that one down for me on film, because I do not understand how that was a false start on Ted Karras at all. He moved his head, but he moved his head early. Like, centers move their heads all the time. The rest of his body was frozen stiff. How was that a false start by the Bengals? I don't like that at all. I think that's bullshit. Bengals should have gotten the first down on that, because that was a jump into that dude jumped all the way to Mars. And maybe he did it because, you know, he thought that Ted Karras kind of moved, and then at that point you're making the argument. But I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Somebody's going to have to break that one down and explain it to me. My dad doesn't like it either. Somebody has to explain to me what Ted Karras did there. I don't think Ted Karras did anything to be flagged for false start there. James Rapine, yeah, dude, everybody's pissed about this. That is absolutely phenomenal. That is absolute fucking bullshit, dude. That is not a false start on Ted Karras. There's no way in hell. He didn't, his whole body was frozen stiff, and he moved his head, but he's got to move his head. Like, he's the center, like, he does, like, that's what happens. That's one of the worst false start calls I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm not kidding. That's an absolutely egregious false start call. Like, that's not I don't understand. Like, I'm gonna need Dean Blandino to show up and explain that one to me, because that was not a false start. That wasn't even close to a false start. And now, after a fucking shank from Ryan Rico, we got the ball, or the Broncos got the ball at the 36-yard line. Defense got a job in front of them now, and Bo Nix is gonna run with it himself, and Logan Wilson knocks the ball out of his hands. But I'm sorry to break this to you, Logan Wilson, but when a quarterback gives the ball up, or when the quarterback gives himself up, then the play's dead. So it's not a fumble. It's gonna be 2nd and 7 now. Surprised Mikey isn't here. He's an expert on getting screwed by the refs. And I was actually explaining to people earlier, like, you know, Mikey, we're doing Thursday night games because of the podcast. We're not doing every game together. That was a horrendous false start call. I don't like that at all. There you go. Bo Nix actually, that was actually a good throw by Bo Nix. It was just dropped by his receiver, and that would have been a great play by the Broncos. But you know, Bo Nix doing a good job to run out of pressure there. But luckily, that ball's dropped. But Mikey is usually in chat. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing right now. He has his own life. Yeah. Third and 7 now. See if the defense can come through here. And, he had a good pressure by Logan Wilson, but not enough. He's actually running the wrong fucking way. And because of that, Bo Nix finds Cortland Sutton for the first down. And, man, that there was so much potential on that one, and it was just disappointing. Yeah, I saw you message me on Twitter, Richard. Sums up the other game. I have since turned that one off. All right. 3:11 left to go in the first quarter, and I'll look at your picture here in a second. But anyway, Bo Nix is going to do the play-action pass, getting rushed by Osai, but finds Adam Troutman for just a gigantically long play. Horrible defense over the last 2 plays. Just completely getting absolutely gashed, man. Good Lord. Good absolute Lord, dude. This is what the defense does, man. Like, this is what the defense does. They trick you into thinking they're good, and then they play like shit in certain scenarios. But to be honest, this drive shouldn't even be happening right now, because that false start was not a false start. It was a jump by the Broncos lineman. And I think it was a jump by the lineman in reaction to thinking Ted Karras moved, but he didn't. Absolutely awful tackling by the Bengals. And once again, I think it was Cortland Sutton on the run. And he's going to pick up like 8 yards when they should have had him down after like 2. RJ Harvey, actually, I think. My bad. RJ Harvey on the run. All right, the Broncos are in I formation right now, so they're basically telegraphing run here. And they hand it off to the fullback, and the Bengals aren't even fucking ready for it. And he plows his way forward for like 4 yards. Like, what are we even doing? It was the fucking fullback, man. It was Adam Prentice. Man. I didn't even know they had fullbacks in the NFL still. Like people who are actually listed as fullbacks. I didn't even realize that was still a position people employed at all anymore. It's fucking insane. Defense just looking like Swiss cheese on this drive. All right, Bo Nix hands the ball off, and I think that's J.K. Dobbins. Yes, it is, and that's, once again, it's going to be like a 4-yard run. Well, they figured us out. They figured something out about this defense, but I think they might have just figured out that the defense just isn't really interested in stopping you. They're interested in, like, preventing the big play, but they'll let you matriculate all day. Good Lord. That terrible call has the Bengals D out of sync, and the Broncos and Denver's moving in at will. Dang that Bo Nix. Can't let the refs beat you, dude. I will say that. Like, it was a terrible call, but it doesn't excuse the Bengals for this play. Bo Nix, he's going to throw it up, and that's too far. That is a overthrow. And they probably could have gotten a touchdown there because that was not very good coverage there by, I believe, Josh Newton. But, you know, there was no even remote chance of, was that Pat Bryant II catching that one. So if you can hold him to a field goal here, I mean, you preserve at least some of your dignity, I guess. All right, 3rd and 5, 22 seconds left in the first quarter. Bo Nix from the 7-yard line. He's gonna run it in himself, and this fucking no. Good Lord! Bo Nix runs it in for the touchdown because once again nobody's paying any attention to anything other than the one little thing that they have going on in their minds at that one given fucking moment. There's a wonder Bo Nix hasn't been running the ball more often in this game. It's a wonder that more quarterbacks don't run against us because you can always tell that the Bengals never stop quarterbacks running the ball. It's just like they're always getting gashed by it. So if you're watching film of the Bengals, I don't understand why quarterbacks don't run more against the Bengals because it works every fucking time. God damn it. All right, and the Bengals are now losing. And we can blame the refs all we want, but you can't let the refs beat you like that. Like it was one bad call, but that doesn't give the Bengals any excuse for letting the Broncos march right down the fucking field. I don't give a shit if it put them out of sync. They need to get themselves back in sync. And not the boy band either. Hey, I just saw this picture that you sent, Richard. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to put it on the screen, but that's funny. That's funny. All right, well, the Bengals had some momentum and they fucking squandered it. And once again, no, you cannot blame the refs for squandering momentum. Like, yes, you can blame the refs for the bad call, and that was a terrible call. That was a horrendous call by the refs. I was looking at Twitter. I don't see a single person arguing that was a false start on Ted Karras. But it still doesn't matter. The defense just can't let the Broncos come out and march down the field like that with virtually no resistance. Like, the Broncos just did whatever they wanted on that drive. There was nothing. There was no opposition. Like, the Bengals get a little bit of pressure on the pocket, but I think the way they play, it looks like they have this expectation that if they get pressure on the quarterback in the pocket, then the quarterback's just going to forget how to play football and then, ball up in a corner and cry. Like, they don't think about the fact that the quarterback can run out of the pocket, and then they always get caught off guard by that. Like, it's like the Bengals are playing a style of football, or at least a style of defense. It's like the Bengals' defense, and this isn't Al Golden necessarily. This has been going on for as far back as I can remember. But it's like the Bengals are playing a style of defense. They're trying to play defense the way they did in the 80s, right? Like back when a lot of these types of plays weren't even really thought about. The Bengals' defense has looked outdated for decades. And it's pervasive across every single defensive coordinator and pervasive across 2 different head coaches. It is the coach's responsibility to fix that problem. But at some point, And it can't be like Duke Tobin's fault because he's the personnel guy. He's not out there determining the play scheme. Like Mike Brown's not out there with a playbook and shit like that. So like, why does it just seem like the Bengals defense is constantly outdated for like all of eternity? Never could figure that one out. Cheetah is out, got carted off just now. That's not good. That's not good. You know, regardless of how people feel about him personally, you don't want to root for injuries, so hopefully he's okay. Oh, man. They're putting this playoff graphic up for the Bengals, and I don't know exactly what they're saying on here because obviously I have the volume off, but I mean, it is true that it's really deflating, man, because like we were on a really good run there for a couple of years, and now we're 2 years removed from that, and it's looking like this year is going to be a struggle too. All right, Chase Brown's going to take the handoff, and he gets like 1 yard. This is stupid. That's going to be the end of the first quarter, so, you know, maybe they can regroup a little bit. You know, take a little bit of a break, come out here in the second quarter and maybe, you know, start... Because they were looking pretty good at the beginning of the game. You know, like they looked like they had a pretty good game plan at first, and they just have not adjusted since then. So... Like, obviously, it's you know, we've been through one quarter. I'm not panicking yet. It's just fucking stupid so far. Like, come on. You can do better than this. Like, I know you can do better than this. I know the offense can do better than this. Like, you know, apparently the running game can't do better than this. I don't know what the hell their problem is. Maybe you can blame the offensive line for that. You know, the offensive line maybe just clearly isn't very good at run blocking. I don't know what the hell is the problem. I think they get a lot of shit for being bad at pass blocking, but I think they're okay at pass blocking, but I would wager that they're pretty bad at run blocking. Let's check PFF because that's the best way to find a metric on it anyway. You know, whether you think that PFF is the best way to actually determine things or not, fair enough. But it's the only way that I know to find an actual metric on this. So, yeah, the Bengals are indeed the worst team in the NFL in terms of run blocking. It's an absolute fucking joke. In terms of pass blocking, oh boy, they're still not very good. Okay, so maybe I'm full of shit. I don't know. This is crazy. This is crazy. Like, the offensive line is consistently ranking really low every year in terms of performance. With the amount of money we're spending on the offensive line, like, I don't know. The Broncos are the best team in the NFL in terms of pass blocking, and I can't say they've exactly looked like it tonight, but, you know, because, I mean, Bo Nix has been getting pressured. He's just been running away from the pressure. And we haven't gotten a sack, but neither of the Broncos, so... I mean, root for Deshaun, and I'll admit it was even funnier the second time. I'm a bad person, but fuck that guy. No, I'm not gonna support, or I'm not gonna condone anywhere. I'm not gonna put my weight behind. You can do whatever you want, Richard, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna not agree with that. But you can do what you want. PFF had Bo picks last week. That was so funny to have Tom and Brandon react to that. I think I saw that, yeah. It's kind of funny. Haven't seen Bo picks today yet, though. Browning's going to throw, and there you go. He's got Mike Gesicki for about a 9-yard catch, so that's what you need to see coming first play out of the quarter. We need more of that, man. No Tyreek, no problem as the Dolphins up on the hapless Jets 17-3. Don't think Vince Lombardi could win with the Jets. Cincinnati Reds are heading to L.A. to face the Dodgers in the NL Wildcard Series. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Mark. I'm shocked. I'm shocked they actually pulled it off. You know, not of their own. You know, it's because the Mets lost, but you know, take what you can get. Samaje Perine is going to get the handoff, and he is going to get a first down. There's a flag on the play, though. Let's see what the flag is. Now, they're going to call it on the Broncos, though. I think they're going to call it, what was that, offsides on the Broncos. The Bengals are going to decline it, though, because they're going to get the first down anyway. Why would you decline that? Like, it's going to be a first down either way, and you get more yards with the offside. So I'm confused. Why wouldn't you take the offsides? I mean, it's like 2 or 3 extra yards, but that's free yards. Why wouldn't you just take the yards? I don't know, whatever. Bengals do have the ball at the 49, though. So whatever the case, they're in pretty decent field range. Jake Brown is throwing it. He's got T. Higgins. I don't know why I did this. It's not a touchdown. But he once again mossed Riley Moss, which is a funny way of saying that. There's another flag, though, and illegal formation on the offense. Good fucking shit, dude. That was an incredible pass to T. Higgins. That was deep shot, had the fucking momentous play, and it was illegal formation. What was the illegal formation? What was the problem? Was it because Amarius Mims was lined slightly too far back? Is that what the issue is? That sucks so much. Like, I mean, yes, that is, like, I'm not gonna try to argue that they shouldn't be calling that, but it just sucks so much that, like, Amarius Mims is off by that much on such an incredible play too. Like, that's not why that play happened. There's another flag, and I think this might be false start on the Bengals. Fuck. Come on! Jesus, man! Like, Jake Browning's actually looking kind of good out there, and the offensive line's just completely fucking him over! This one's on Dylan Fairchild, who's a rookie, so, I mean, like, rookie mistakes happen, but it's over and over and over again, man! Come on! Good lord, you're just shooting this fucking team in the foot, guys! What is your problem? They're backed up to the 39 now. 1st and 20. It's going to be a handoff to Chase Brown because fuck it, why not, I guess. And he gets like 5 yards, which is fine. But of course they're going to give him 5 yards on 1st and 20. Like, when it's 1st and 20, that's probably not a very good run, really. Helps out the average, I guess. Good lord. Dude, I am about to fucking scream. I don't know who you blame, right? Because, like, I guess you gotta blame Zach Taylor, technically, right? Because, like, it's a new offensive line coach, and you could blame the offensive line coach, but it's not like things were going great with the old offensive line coach. So, the only person left to blame is Zach Taylor. Man. Bengals kicking their own behind with these flags. They really are. Now one of the flags on Karras was bullshit. Like, let's be clear about that. That flag on Karras was complete and utter bullshit. But these other flags are just they're just as fucking, they're just as fucking killer. Maybe not just as killer. That was pretty killer. But the combination of all these other flags that they're getting, they're undisciplined. Good lord. I really don't know who else to blame but Zach Taylor. Like, I really have no other explanation. And y'all know how much I like Zach Taylor, but, I mean, I'll call a spade when I have to, They had the tiebreaker over the Mets with a 2-1 series win, and the Lowell Mets are eternal. Yeah, the Mets are, like, another team that, like, I kind of want to see win, just because they're always so bad. But not at the expense of the Reds, like, at the end of the day. You know what? Since the Bengals are pissing me off, not abandoning the Bengals, by the way. I'm still going to have my Joe Burrow jersey on, right? But, since we're happy about the Reds, maybe I'll celebrate the Reds a little bit. Let's go. Who Red, baby? Yeah, who Red? What do Reds fans say? And this one belongs to the Reds, but it's a football game, so I don't know. But you gotta turn the cat backwards, though. That's what you do in baseball, right? Let's go. Yeah. Can't really see it, though. You can't really tell it's a red. I mean, you can see it's a red hat, but it kind of, I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna put the Reds hat on, try to get that bullshit energy going. Because, I don't know if the Reds deserve to make the playoffs, but they did. But then again, I don't really follow baseball. Maybe they did deserve to make the playoffs, and I'm just being too hard on them. I don't know. People are paying the refs Maybe. This shit is for real. Give me a shout out. The flags are getting crazy. There you go, Zach. They need to get their shit together, man. Who Reds is so silly, but I like it. I don't know what to say, dude. I don't really follow baseball. 2nd and 15. Jake Browning does actually have to rush out of the pocket there. He's running to the sideline. He just has to get rid of the ball. And now the offensive line isn't even pass blocking well. Good Lord. Very excited person, Zach. I don't know what to tell you about the flags, man. Like the one flag on Karras. What are we doing? I don't know. Like I'm guessing you just showed up, but I mean, I was fucking letting them have it a few minutes ago. But I don't even know, dude. We're shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties over and over and over. Like the drives look good, and then we just fuck ourselves over. It's just like last week, except last week it was turnovers. This week it's flags, and it's easier to come back from flags, but not the way the defense was playing on that last fucking drive. And is this going to be... Don't tell me it's going to be a delay of game. Good Lord. It's a delay of game on the Bengals. Why the fuck not? It's 3rd and 15. You know what? It's not like 3rd and 20 is going to be that much worse, right? Might as fucking well. Give Ryan Rico a chance to break out of his funk by giving him some, field to work with. I guess. I don't fucking know. What the hell is going on right now? The Reds' catchphrase is Big Red Machine. Yeah, but, well, you don't really, like... That's not like a chant. I don't know. It's not like a saying, though. That's more of just like a reference. Jamar Chase is going to get the catch, and he gets about 10 yards there, but doesn't really fucking do much of anything on 3rd and 20. After penalty after penalty after penalty. It's an absolute fucking joke, dude. And Jake Browning's over here, like, it's my bad, guys. Like, no, it's not your bad, Jake Browning. Like, you're not the one out here who's like getting like fucking false start and illegal formation, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe the delay of game was your fault, but like frankly, that one's like the least egregious of all the flags that have happened so far. Man, what an absolute fucking disaster of a goddamn offensive performance. Like I said, I don't know who you blame other than Zach Taylor at this point. And there's another flag. What's the flag? Delay of game? Another delay of game? What the fuck is happening? 4th and 15. Name of WWE superstar Kane. That's cool, bro. What are we doing? Get it together. Yeah, just good Lord, man. I don't... You got me down to it. You got the impression of me down to a T, Zach. I'll tell you that right now. This fucking team, dude. All right, Ryan Rico finally punts the ball away without another penalty. And that ball is going to bounce at touchback. I'm about out on Zach, y'all. Not that Zach's the special teams coordinator, but he is the head coach. I'm about out on Zach, y'all. This is just good. Not you, Zach P. I mean Zach Taylor. Zach P, you're obviously welcome here. I don't know if you're a subscriber or not, but feel free to subscribe. And you can bitch about the Bengals with me. But I think I'm about out on Zach Taylor, guys. This is just fucking pathetic so far. And last week was pathetic, especially with how, like, you felt pretty good coming out. I mean, not great. As good as you can feel losing Joe Burrow for 3 months. You felt about that good coming out of the Jaguars game, right? Like, not great, but like, hey, well, we can probably survive with Jake Browning. But not if you're doing this shit. You're out here, like, playing like undisciplined fucking idiots. Turning the ball over like crazy in the last game and just penalty, killing every goddamn drive in this game. And it's like, I want to be mad at the defense for playing like shit on the last drive, but like, out of the 2 units, they've been the ones who've actually been like playing halfway fucking decent at certain times in this game. This team is selling. This team's doing something, dude. I'm just subscribed. Welcome, Zach. You know what? I was on a Vikings podcast before last week's game, and me and LA Bengals fan, who's another Bengals fan YouTuber, and then also the guys on the Vikings podcast. We all had a good discussion about how running these YouTube channels is good for our mental health because it helps us like we get to vent about the Bengals instead of just watching it in our own fucking living rooms and breaking our own TVs, or in my case, punching a hole in the drywall. In a game that we ended up blowing the Lions out in, but I was worried that we were going to blow the game at one point. It was pretty stupid. But, doing these YouTube channels gets us we have a chance to vent about the game and get it out. So, that's why I run the channel. But, so for those of you who don't feel like getting on here and doing the work of streaming every fucking game, which is, harder than it looks, honestly. There's a lot more factors than you'd think. But for those of you who don't want to do that, hang out here and we can be pissed off and miserable together. Yeah? Let's see what happens the rest of the game, but if it keeps up like this, it's over. Alright, it's going to be a pass to the backfield. Good lord. And number 19 of the Broncos just has all fucking day to run, and he picks up like 10 yards because it takes... basically, Geno Stone has to come from the free safety spot to clean that play up. Like, good lord. I don't even know what to tell you, dude. Like, if this is the performance we're gonna put on the rest of the season, just phone the rest of it in, man. This is just a complete shit show. Bo Nix just completely running out of any sort of pressure whatsoever. Gets a 4-yard pass on the play. Sounds like me. Yeah. After that Vikings blowout, I think the Steelers could win the division. Rodgers may be old, but he's still great. Ain't nobody else in the division playing any good right now, Jim. So, I mean, I still don't really buy the Steelers, but like, hey, that's out of bounds. That's not a catch. Hold on. His foot was out of bounds. All right, cool. They called it correctly. All right. I thought we were going to get screwed by the fucking refs again. Again, not to blame the refs for how badly we're playing, but to make a point at least. All right, it's going to be another backfield pass to Adam Troutman, and they're at least on top of him that time. They don't do a very good job of tackling him, but coverage was bad, but at least it was there, which you can't say about that other play. Yeah, I did see that Vikings blowout from you, Jim. By the way, I just want to point out that you've been in this chat a lot talking about how the Reds are not going to make the playoffs. Apparently they did. I don't think it was really on their own merit that they made the playoffs, but they made the playoffs, so I guess you were wrong about that. I don't know anything about baseball, so I couldn't really argue with you much more than that about it. Bo Nix, and there's going to be a flag on the play. He's got the pass to Cortland Sutton, and... I'm going to guess holding based on the timing of that flag. My guess is going to be holding on the Broncos. Offsides on the Bengals because of fucking course. I'm about done with Zach Taylor, guys. I'm just about completely and utterly done. And we heard all fucking week about how the Bengals front office thinks that Miles Murphy has turned the fucking corner. He's out here fucking offsides on random goddamn plays. Doesn't really matter because I'm sure the Broncos are going to... I think they declined it anyway, but it's just... Good lord. Like I said, I'm about out on Zach Taylor. Put Al Golden. Make Al Golden the head coach. Honestly. Like, he looks semi-competent as bad as the defense is playing right now. Bo Nix, all day to throw, and overthrows R.J. Harvey, I think. Is that R.J. Harvey? Yeah, it is R.J. Harvey. Who was wide open, probably would have had a touchdown. But can't bring it down because Bo Nix overthrows them. That helps, but not because anybody's playing halfway decent out there. Like R.J. Harvey just like splits the seam right here, and it's super soft. Like it looks like Logan Wilson is supposed to kind of be in coverage there, but it looks like that's his zone, and he's nowhere goddamn near the guy. I don't know. That's going to be a handoff to R.J. Harvey, and it's like 7 yards because they can't fucking get any push Against the run, it's actually 6 yards. I'm sorry. League. The refs I'm in my league with, in my league on defense, and the whole team jumped, and I got out of the game and had to look it up in the book, because apparently I'm confused by that whole text, Zach. I'm sorry. Ravens dropped to 1-3, so Super Bowl not likely there. It's because the Ravens suck, dude. I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals beat the Ravens with Jake Browning. Good Lord. Bo Nix gets out of a fucking sack and finds Cortland Sutton because Miles Murphy just cuts that angle too sharply. This is pathetic. At least they go on a streak of 8 equals 2. The coaches got ejected for cussing out the refs. That's kind of funny. There's a Bengals player hurt on the field. That's not funny. Tyreek Hill broke his leg. That's unfortunate. Oh, I'm sorry. I falsely accused Miles Murphy. It was B.J. Hill who took the bad angle on Bo Nix. My bad, guys. Sorry, the refs out me and our arrest, and they both got ejected. And we found smelling salts and 5-hour energy in their bag and got ejected for the rest of the season. What the fuck, dude? That sounds insane. Holy shit. What the hell's going on? That's... Yeah, get those refs out of there. What the hell? I'm happy the Reds are in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm happy. I guess. I don't know. And it's 10U. Oh, 10 and under? Yeah. That's fucking crazy, Zach. That's not okay. Like, what? How did that guy get hired to be a ref in the first place? Like, that's wild. That's wild to me. All right, the Broncos are once again knocking on the fucking door. From the 19-yard line, it's going to be a handoff, and nobody just fucking runs in for a touchdown. I'm sure they made the extra point, right? 14-3, yep, sure did. What the fuck? Well, it was a nice offseason we had. Beating the Browns week 1 was pretty cool. Starting 2-0 was pretty cool. Did he just crash out? I guess. We'll be right back after this set. That's true. I had to go bitch to my wife real quick. Hey, at least the Reds made the playoffs, right? FC Cincinnati's usually pretty... When does soccer season start? That's what I want to know. FC Cincinnati schedule. I don't fucking know. What about Premier League? Manchester City's always pretty good. Maybe I'll become a soccer channel. That sounds fun. Maybe I'll become a soccer channel. Oh, okay. Premier League, I guess, is just like week 7 of their season. So Man City on October 5th plays Brentford. So that's a game that we'll probably win. Yeah. I really hope we don't lose to Brentford. That would suck. Manchester City's pretty good though, right? I don't follow that as close as I. Oh, we just beat Burnley 5-1, so that's pretty good. Tied with Arsenal. Beat Man City beat Man United 3-0. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Lost 2-1 to Brighton. That's stupid. But hey, we won the Manchester Derby. Lost 2-0 to Tottenham. I mean, that's not good, but I think Tottenham's right after we beat the Wolves 4-0. So, all right. Well, at least Man City's looking pretty good. When's FC Cincinnati playing? I guess they've already been playing for a while. I don't know. Lord. Let's hope Cincinnati does something. I don't fucking know, Jeff. There's a flag on the play. Whatever fucking happened. I was looking at soccer. Sorry. What's this? I don't know what... It looks like my nightmares, but also this game is my nightmares. So... Whatever happened, I think it was a penalty on the Bengals. Bengals special teams, I guess? I guess it must have been the kickoff or something. I don't know. Point being, the Bengals are going to have the ball at what looks to be like the 12-yard line. I think I'm broken. I think I'm just broken. Like, this is the life of being a Bengals fan. John says, nice Reds hat. Go baseball. Let's go baseball. Yeah. Or soccer. Let's go soccer. 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 I do really like soccer. I also know half my audience would abandon me if I became a soccer channel, but flags are making me crash out. Yeah, dude, I'm fucking pissed, dude. I'm at the point where I'm starting to almost think it's just funny. All right, Jake Brown is going to throw it to try to go on a deep slant route to Mitchell Tinsley, and he completely misses him. I like soccer too, John. Problem is, I think you and me are the only ones. Hell nah, soccer ass. No, you're wrong, Zach. I love soccer. I quite enjoy soccer. I don't know if I'm... I don't know if I'm inundated enough with soccer to be able to do a whole channel about it, though. Because, like, that's why I do the Bengals channel, right? Because, like, it's like a second part of my life. Jake Brown, he's going to wind up, throws it deep, overthrown for T. Higgins. I don't even know what the fuck we're even doing anymore. It's going to be 3rd and 10. He's going for deep shots right now. Like, why are we sending deep shots when we're on like the 14-yard line? Why are we sending deep shots? Like, we need to get some momentum. We need to get some first downs. You know, I mean, I know that was part of the problem earlier was we had to fight for every single fucking play. It'd be nice to get some big plays going, but like if you're overthrowing every single big play, maybe we should just try to get some first downs. It'll be 3rd and 10 now from the 14-yard line. Got Samaje Perine in the backfield. Jake Browning, good protection. Going to roll out to his right. There is a flag. Browning's going to throw it away. What is the flag? I really hope the Reds beat LA. I really hope so too, John. That would be cool. Can we just talk about the Chief Patrick Mahomes not in his prime? I don't want to talk about the Chiefs. They're looking better right now. We can talk about the Ravens. Stop with the flags. I don't know. I'm broken. You know, I was I gotta say I was a big fan of the Bengals bringing in Zach Taylor. Okay, whatever happened, I must have been on the Bengals because I'm guessing the flag got declined, and it's 4th and 10. So Ryan Rico's gonna punt from the end zone, technically from the 2. All right, punt is away, and this is actually a pretty good punt for once. He knows how to punt far. He's not super accurate, but he's got power. He's not accurate, and he's not sometimes clutch, usually not. Dude, we're gonna need a defensive score to really have a chance at doing anything in this game. This offense is broken. I think I'm about done with Zach Taylor. Like, I think I really am just about done with Zach Taylor, because, like, I really genuinely think, and this isn't just me wanting to blame Zach Taylor, or wanting to blame Joe Burrow. I don't really want to blame Joe Burrow anyway. I just want him to be healthy, you know? But I do think maybe if we had a coach that was a little bit more disciplined with his players as the head coach, then I think you wouldn't... Oh, fuck. Well, see if I can get this back before the play happens. I guess not. Bo Nix throws behind the line, and hey, there you go. There you go. Tackled by B.J. Hill. There's a flag on the play, though. Let's see what's going on with that. But it looks like it was thrown in the backfield, so I'm guessing it's on the Broncos. But great play there by B.J. Hill. Great play there by B.J. Hill to bring him down in the backfield there. Now let's see what the flag is. Okay, it is illegal formation on the offense, so obviously going to be declined considering the play went pretty much the Bengals' way on that one. All right. Nah, the sick no more Patrick Mahomes not winning the Super Bowl. Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Chiefs are exposed by what happened in the Super Bowl, but I don't know, they're looking pretty good right now. Or not in general, but like they looked good against the Ravens. But then again, the Ravens might suck too, so I don't know. There's another flag. This flag. This game is just full of flags. Like, it's just, if I don't think the Broncos are good. I do think the Bengals are bad. But it's just flag. Like, how many fucking flags have we had so far? It's just flag. That's all we're getting right now. Illegal use of hands on Trey Hendrickson. Like, what did he do? I'm not saying they're wrong. I would like to see what he did. Getting up in his face. He's choke holding the move. Yeah, don't do that, Trey. Okay, yeah, that's. I mean, that's a fair flag. So I'm not necessarily blaming the refs for the fact that it's flag. I'm saying the Bengals are being extremely undisciplined. There was that one bad flag. There was that one bad, they called a false start when it should have been offsides. But other than that, the Bengals have just been a fucking disaster with all these flags. All right, J.K. Dobbins, actually. Getting out of like 3 fucking tackles in the backfield, and eventually Jordan Battle brings him down for a 9-yard gain. Like, man, I don't even know how to analyze this. This is just like the defense sucks. Like, everything that we saw everything that we've been seeing this season, like, oh, the defense looks better. The defense looks better. At least that's what I've been saying. The defense looks better. And they did at the beginning of this game, but now they just look like a fucking train wreck. Like, all the goddamn flags seem to have, like, broken them. I don't know. And wide open hole for J.K. Dobbins, and he probably could have had it if he didn't run into his own offensive lineman who was blocking. But it's still going to be like a 15-yard gain. Good Lord. I think I have J.K. Dobbins in fantasy, though. That's probably good, right? Probably a silver lining for me. And I got the Broncos defense in fantasy, too. So that's... I don't think I did that on purpose. I think I forgot that they were playing the Bengals when I was doing my lineup. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. I do have J.K. Dobbins, and doesn't seem to have a lot of fantasy points for... I mean, he's been having some pretty good... There's another good run right there, and it takes fucking Jordan Battle and Geno Stone to get him down. There's a flag. Now, I'm wondering if that was a big hole, because it is holding on the Broncos. Yep. I had a feeling that one was holding. The Broncos finally get a holding call that pulls one of their big plays back. Bad Bunny's performing in the Super Bowl. I saw that. I don't know if I have any opinion on Bad Bunny at all. He's not Taylor Swift. I thought sure we were going to get Taylor Swift performing in the Super Bowl halftime. But then again, maybe Taylor Swift would be a conflict of interest because of Travis Kelce and all of the other stuff going on there. Mike Pennell just getting roasted on that play, but I think he was also being held too. It's flag football. It feels like the Bengals think it's flag football. RJ Harvey's going to get it in the backfield. Bengals do a good job of bringing him down there, though. I think he might have gotten 2 yards. It takes 3 of them to tackle him, but they also hit him pretty hard when they do, so. 2nd and 17. After the holding call knocks him back, and they pick about. I thought that was only like a 1 yard gain, but it looks like they're giving them like 3. I don't know. Either way, you know, I mean, like, the defense can get off the field here, man, and it's like the game's not close to over if the defense can do something, but they're just getting absolutely, they're looking like they don't fucking give a shit. Bo Nix all day to throw, wide fucking open. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the defense just doesn't seem like they have any. It looks like it looks like Ohio State playing Ohio University. That's what it looks like. Like, the defense looks like they went all the way back to 2023 in this one. It's a complete fucking joke. It's a complete joke. Man. Maybe we need to apologize to Lou Anarumo. This is awful. And I don't think it's Al Golden's fault either. I think, which is crazy because, like, a lot of the construct of our defense is, you know, like we still have a decent number of the same players that took us to the Super Bowl, right? And they were some of the better players when we went to the Super Bowl. But now the defense is horrendous. Like, it's probably because of, I was saying all offseason how, you know, much they really need to fix the defensive backs. And they didn't do a damn thing all offseason to even address defensive back. They're just like, we're going to roll with Geno Stone and Jordan Battle and Cam Taylor-Britt and DJ Turner again. And here's the thing. If they got one, like, if they got one guy, if they brought in one guy, just like a number one corner, a guy who can, like, hold down the thing, then all the rest of those guys, I think, would play a lot better. You have one guy who could hold it down, but you don't have anybody who can hold it down right now. You have a handful of pretty okay guys who can, like, make some plays when necessary, but aren't going to make every damn play. Bo Nix, once again, has all day to throw. In that case, it looks like the guy he was throwing to ended up stepping out of bounds before he secured the catch. Evan Ingram, actually. Yeah, that foot just barely hit out of bounds. Broncos doing a lot today, interestingly enough. It's 2nd and 10, and you'd feel okay, except for the fact that, like, it hasn't stopped him at all yet. Now, this defense is atrocious. Bo Nix is going to be a play-action pass, and he's going to throw it to Evan Ingram, who was not out of bounds on that one. He picks up like 8 or 9 yards. Here we, me, you coach them. No. We might do a better job than Zach Taylor at this point, honestly. Like, and it sucks. It really sucks that I'm saying that because, like, I've been such a big Zach Taylor supporter for so long, but I'm at the point where I'm just like, he's the only one left to blame. You know, you got rid of everybody else. All right, RJ Harvey's just going to keep it himself in like a wildcat. And the Bengals do stop him. Okay, so it's going to be 4th and 1 now, and I'm imagining the Broncos would be insane to not just take the points here. I mean, like, you're pretty close, so they could maybe go for it, but with a 14-3 lead, I would just take the points. Like, there's no need to hurt the Bengals even worse, because if the Bengals stop them here, then that's like momentum for the Bengals. So I've seen Bengals turn games around because they got a big stop on like a 4th down conversion try. So this would be pretty stupid if the Broncos went for it, honestly. Timeout by the Bengals. I don't know if I like that because if you do stop them, like the 2-minute warning is gonna happen. If you do stop them, you want to have some timeouts in case you get anything going on offense. Good play by Dax Hill to recover from being blocked to bring R.J. Harvey down on that play. I gotta say, I don't know if it feels like Sean Payton's the aggressive enough type to go for it here. So it feels like he would, but it also feels like that would be a dumb move. Now perhaps trying to draw him off sides is a smart move, because that would give you a first down. But no, they're going to go for it. Bo Nix's going to roll out to his right, and he's going to throw, and it's intercepted! Let's go! Let's go! Demetrius Knight intercepts it in the end zone! Now that's a potentially big play for the defense, and it's still 14-3. To be clear, it's still 14-3. But that's the kind of shot in the arm that you have to get. Oh man, that's exactly what you need. Because if they can go get a touchdown now, he may not have caught that ball. It'll still be Bengals ball, but the question is, will it be? No, he caught it. That did not touch the ground. He caught it with his groin. He caught it with his penis. But I thought it hit I thought it might have hit the ground, but it did not. It did not. Good job by Demetrius Knight to secure that. But anyway, to recombobulate after that, I just need something to be happy about, man. Like if we're gonna suck, we're gonna suck. I just want to feel happy sometimes, you know. Man, if we can because here's the thing: if we can take this momentum and we can get a touchdown. Now I know that's asking a lot for this fucking offense right now, but we've got, you know, this is the perfect excuse to be a little delusional, right? You're gonna get the ball at like the 20-yard line. It's gonna be a touchback or whatever it is. You know, you've got 2 timeouts. You should frankly have more than 2 timeouts, but you've got 2 timeouts. And you got 1:58 left to go. So if you can go get a touchdown, and you can go into the half, and I believe the Broncos get the ball first, so I mean it's not like you can double up or anything. But if you can at least go into the half only down 14-10, then you know maybe there's something there. You know, maybe there's something there. It's like you still got some work to do. But you're at least going into the half feeling like you're not just a complete fucking dumpster fire, which is really what this whole game's been so far. Like, it's kind of like the opposite, not really the opposite, but it's kind of like the opposite of what the Vikings game would have been without all the turnovers. Felt like the Bengals were, you know, more or less kind of the better team. And you know, they marched on offense, should have had more points instead of turnovers, and they were generally playing well on defense. And then it all fell apart with the fucking turnovers. This one's different though. This is just they look awful. Like the Broncos don't look particularly good, but they're getting that's definitely a catch. Didn't hit the ground. I don't know. I guess they must be reviewing it or something, but. I mean, they've got perfect, they got the perfect angle. You can see that never even, frankly, comes relatively close to the ground. You know, in context, that doesn't really come close. So, all right, it is Bengals ball, and it's going to be a handoff to Chase Brown, who picks up about 4 yards, and that's one of the better runs of the entire night. I don't know why they're running the ball with as much time as remaining and only 2 timeouts. I don't really love that. But I don't know. I guess you probably do want to burn some of the clock. You don't want to just go all the way down the field in 10 seconds. You know, you do want to burn probably the clock. Jake Browning's going to run out to the right, and he is going to pick up about 3 yards because he had nowhere to go with the ball. But you know what? He gets out of bounds, and so it's going to be 3rd down and 3, and that's fine actually. You know what? I'm okay with that. You know, you don't necessarily need to go on. Like if you can stop the clock, you don't necessarily have to go for the big play. You know, if you're going to keep the clock running, you definitely want to move the ball. But if you can stop the clock, then push it. You know. God, if they can get a touchdown, then like I think we are allowed to be slightly delusional. Got to actually finish it though. A field goal helps, but man, a touchdown would really break it wide fucking open. Jake Browning gets sacked. So I'm sitting here talking about, good lord. Amarius Mims just gets absolutely annihilated on that. Like, he didn't even block him. Like, Cooper just came screaming on the outside there. Man. What sucks? What sucks is, like, Amarius Mims had nobody else to even pay attention to. He just got smoked on that one, man. And Orlando Brown got smoked too, but his guy is not the guy who got to Jake Browning. So it's 4th and 9. The Bengals got a fucking punt. There's the offensive line being bad for you. That one was all on the offensive line. 4th and 9, and now they got a fucking punt. You'd think with all the punting Ryan Rico's doing lately, he'd be better at it. And as I say that, this one does pretty well. From the 15. And nice job. There you go. Nice job to get him down about the 20-yard line. So you're not really giving... The Broncos only have one timeout, and 109 left to go. So the Broncos probably aren't going to be marching down the field either. They might. With how porous the Bengals' fucking defense is. Now that would be a gut punch, actually, if the offense basically just goes 3 and out after the big Demetrius Knight interception, and then the defense gives up a fucking score before the half. That would just be... you might have to fire Zach Taylor at halftime if that happened. Well, let's see what happens, though. I'm not trying to give up on anything just yet. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Bo Nix takes a shotgun snap, rolls back, got all day to throw, throws it short. And that's a good wrap-up job there by Josh Newton, who Josh Newton might be our best corner, honestly. And he's like the 3rd-string guy. Our 1st and 2nd string guy, I think, are equally talented. Bo Nix, shotgun snap, he's got pressure in his face, and yet it doesn't really fucking matter. There's multiple flags in the defensive backfield, though. So I'm wondering if this is going to be like a push-off on the, like illegal contact on the Broncos or something like that. I don't know if they would... Holding on the defense! Fuck. As you can imagine, that's declined. Man, I don't know who the hell was holding, but the guy who went back and caught that ball. All right, now they got the ball at the 33-yard line. Bo Nix rolls back, he throws, it's caught, dropped. Hell yeah, let's go. Let's go. I need the bullshit. I'm sorry. I need the help of the bullshit. I don't want it, but I could use a couple bad ref calls and some bullshit to help me out here, because I don't know if the Bengals can do it themselves. I hate to say it that way, but I think it's true. I don't think the Bengals can do it themselves. They're pretty bad right now. From the 33, it's 2nd and 10. Bo Nix rolls back. He's gonna throw it deep to nobody. Not sure where he was throwing there. Looked like there was a guy open too, and if he was aiming for that guy, that was... Oh, I don't know. Who is Bad Bunny? I don't know, actually, Jim. He's like a Hispanic musician. I'm not really entirely sure what the genre is. I haven't really listened to him much. But I know he's popular. Who he is, I don't know exactly. I couldn't tell you much beyond that, though. Super Bowl halftime shows sucked for the last 5 years. Kendrick Lamar was really good. Kendrick Lamar was on fire, dude. Bo Nix throws and absolutely getting fucking gashed on the play to Marvin Mims, who I didn't even think was playing today. I thought he was inactive. I thought I saw somewhere that he was inactive today. But yeah, absolutely getting gashed on the play, I believe, was Cam Taylor-Britt. And the Broncos are suddenly in field goal range. Was that Cam Taylor-Britt? That was not Cam Taylor-Britt, actually. That was number 20. Who the hell is number 24? It used to be Von Bell. I don't know who's 24 now. Whoever he is, he probably needs to not be on the team. Marco Wilson. Okay, so like, why is the sixth-string cornerback? I think Cam Taylor-Britt's actually out today, but why is Marco Wilson in there? Like, Marco Wilson is like your last option at cornerback. Why the hell is he in there? Good Lord. Suddenly, the Broncos have the ball at the 39-yard line, and that's pretty much field goal range, especially Mile High. All right, and it's going to be a toss, and that's wide fucking open, of course, because like we can't play any sort of coverage at all. The Broncos are constantly out there, like nobody can get open, so Jake Browning's got to run around out there. He's got to throw the ball away, but the Bengals just leave people wide the hell open. There's no coverage. This is a fucking joke. This is an absolute fucking joke. Like, if this is the performance that we're putting up today, then I think I'm just done with Zach Taylor, period. And Trey Hendrickson appears to be somewhat shaken up, like not severe enough that he's on the field, but you know, he's off the field and he's kneeling down and stuff. So Bo Nix throws and it's dropped. Would have been a 5-yard gain, but he drops it. I'm not sure if I'm happy about it. Jim says Bengals miss Joe Burrow and it shows. Like, we do, but like Joe Burrow doesn't play defense. Joe Burrow just simply does not play defense. So, and the defense has looked fine at times this year, but right now the defense is just as bad as the offense is. There's a flag on the play pretty much immediately after like an 8-yard catch, so I'm wondering if this is coming back. Hope so. Offsides on the defense. How are they this fucking bad? They're just constantly... It'll be 3rd and 2 now. This is just an absolute... This is fucking embarrassing is what it is. Like... You got this fucking wide open window with, you know, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and this is the performance you're putting out around him. I know he's hurt right now, but... Touchdown. Strike to Cortland Sutton. Alright, well... Okay. Alright. Well, we'll see how the rest of this game goes, but, I'm about done. I'm about done with Zach Taylor, I think. This is... There's no excuse. Like, I know he mostly is an offensive guy, but... And I'm mad at the defense right now, but, like, the offense has been completely inept all day. They've been getting constant killer penalties over and over and over again. There's no discipline, and part of the reason the defense is bad is because they're getting a bunch of penalties, too. Like... Both sides of the ball look absolutely unprepared to play. They're undisciplined. I don't see the vision with Zach Taylor at this point. Like, and I hate to say that because I was such a big supporter of bringing in Zach Taylor at the time. I identified him before anybody else was talking about Zach Taylor as the Bengals' potential next head coach. And, it was a little rough there at first. And we went to the Super Bowl and we went to the AFC Championship. And I was like, oh, shit, look, maybe I was right about Zach Taylor after all. And just ever since then, they just looked like constantly underprepared until maybe like the tail end of the season. And by then, they've ended up knocking themselves out of the playoffs. So, like at this point, you've undone all of the goodwill that you built up by that Super Bowl run. Like, I'm not saying we should fire Zach Taylor right now because, like, if you fire Zach Taylor, you're punting on the season. Like, the season's over. If you think that you have a chance to turn it around at all, which you could make the argument because, it's like that 2-2 start, or that 2-0 start helps. And at this rate, it's about to be a 2-2 start unless they do something crazy in the second half here. I mean, technically, if the Broncos scored 21 points in the first half, the Bengals can score 21 points in the second half, right? That can happen. But the way they're looking right now, like, I don't know how the hell you would expect that something like that's going to happen. Man. I think I think I'm pretty much done with Zach Taylor. This team looks undisciplined. Like, who is that if not the head coach? Like, if this team's not ready to play, and they're just fucking kneeling on it, and like, I mean, I get there's only 8 seconds left, but you're not even gonna try to get like 3 points. You got 2 timeouts. You could at least try to like throw a big pass and maybe get in position for Evan McPherson, or maybe you get lucky and you break one. You're just gonna go into the half. That feels fucking weak to me. I've been a big Zach Taylor supporter for a long time, guys, but I think I'm done. I think I'm done, because it's just like every single possible way you can find to look undisciplined, Zach Taylor's guys have found ways to look like that. All over the last 3 years fucking straight. And looking like it'll be 3 years in a row we're going to miss the playoffs. I know, like I said, the 2-0 start helps, so, coming out of that, we'll be 2-2, and so we're still in pretty decent position to, like, vie for, like, a wild card, but with how, competent the Steelers kind of generally look right now, I think, you're going to have to really get your shit together to, fight for winning the division. And then a wild card spot, like, you definitely don't look like a wild card team right now. You look like a team that's coming out and playing like garbage against a fucking Minnesota Vikings team that otherwise, has looked pretty suspect, getting blown out by the Falcons and then, losing and then having an admirable comeback against the Steelers, but still looking like garbage for the most part against the Steelers. And now you're playing the Broncos, which have been struggling, and you're getting your ass absolutely handed to you right now. This is just absolutely pathetic. And I don't know who to blame if not Zach Taylor. Again, I'm not saying you fire him until, till the end of the season, because you're you're basically punting on the season if you fire Zach Taylor. Like, I don't think, because like I said, make Al Golden the head coach because he's doing an okay job with the defense. But like, I don't think Al Golden is established enough in Cincinnati to be the interim coach. So, I think what you'd end up getting is like Darren Simmons would be the interim coach or something like that, most likely. That's because the Bengals tend to be conservative with decisions like that. So, what do my friends think about this? Apparently, Jason Kelsey is calling Joe Burrow the best offensive player in the world right now. And honestly, to be completely honest with you, looking at the Bengals without Joe Burrow, and like even with Joe Burrow, the offense wasn't really looking that great. But looking with what Joe Burrow is able to get out of this offense compared to what we're getting without him, he might have a good point. Like, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a really talented guy, but he's also got a lot of talent, a really well-coached team, and like a really competent defense behind him. And then a lot of, the Bengals have a lot of good weapons, but weapons are not the only way to run a football team. I will say you've been having a lot of like, and I'm so fucking mad, by the way, that we're dragging this discussion back up from the grave. But the Chase versus Sewell crowd, where they're like, oh, you got to take Penei Sewell because Jamar Chase, yeah, he gets you, like he's really talented wide receiver, but like if Joe Burrow's not upright enough to throw him the ball, it's not going to matter. And in general, I think Jamar Chase has largely shut that crowd up, but they're kind of coming back now because, I mean, frankly, like, whether the offensive line is responsible for getting Joe Burrow hurt or not, it does kind of look like you could really use a guy like Penei Sewell, pass blocking right now. But then again, I don't even know if Penei Sewell will be, as good as, like, he's been so good with the Lions. I don't know if he'd even be that good with the Bengals because, in theory, Orlando Brown was a pretty damn good left tackle. He looks okay with the Bengals, but, like, the offensive line still looks bad. Ted Karras and Alex Kappa at the time were seen as really good signings, and, I think, Alex Kappa ended up, like, getting run out of town, basically, and, Ted Karras, a lot of people are, not very happy with him either. You had all that talk about how Cordell Volson looked really good in his rookie year, and people were really excited about him, and he's basically been relegated to the bench because he just fell apart. In theory, this Dylan Fairchild guy might be pretty good, but I'm not entirely sure it matters. So it's just like, what do you even do at this point? We're at halftime, by the way. I need to go ahead and update that. This is just fucking depressing, honestly. I don't even know what to tell you at this point. I think, like, I feel like the Brown family is going to try to make the excuse that you can't blame Zach Taylor because he doesn't have Joe Burrow. But, like, you've got all these fucking weapons, and Jake Browning isn't a bad quarterback. It's just they seem to have no idea what they're doing out there, and they've been having some plays, and then they get completely thrown off by all these penalties, and they're just like, they look so undisciplined out there, and who do you blame if not Zach Taylor? If anybody has an idea, let me know. But and again, I hate saying it because I've been a Zach Taylor supporter, but at this point, I have no idea. And the hope is also that if you get another coach other than Zach Taylor, maybe the next coach can reel Joe Burrow in a little bit more and maybe make him play a less, like, be a little bit more careful with his body while he's out there. Not to completely say it's all Joe Burrow's fault that he's getting hurt, but I do think that's part of what's going on here because it's not. A lot of this stuff is like tendon issues, and it's not necessarily because the offensive line plays badly. Like, a lot of these plays where he's getting hurt on are like freak plays. It's not the offensive line's fault. On the plays where some of them are. Like when he tore his ACL in his rookie season, that was 100% on the offensive line. I don't think there's any you could make any argument that it was anything but the offensive line. But like the wrist had nothing to do with the offensive line. This turf toe had nothing to do with the offensive line. So I'm not trying to say like the offensive line is amazing and we shouldn't try to do anything, try to make the offensive line better or whatever like that. But what I am saying is that I think it'd be nice because I don't think Zach Taylor like wants to tell Joe Burrow what to do. I think he wants to let Joe Burrow be Joe Burrow. And I get that. But it's been getting Joe Burrow hurt. And I'm not saying that's a reason to fire Zach Taylor, but I do think the fact that this team constantly looks undisciplined and unprepared and not ready to go constantly might be a reason to fire Zach Taylor. And then you might also get the added benefit of, the next coach is willing to, actually coach Joe Burrow a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe I'm full of shit and I'm just talking out of my ass because I'm pissed. But according to my dad, Dan Horde said he double clutched the snap. I'll have to look at that again. Ah. Well, I guess that might explain it. I don't know. You can't tell on the replay, so... And then he's talking about the Ted Karras false start, so maybe, I don't know. Either way, I'm so beyond the point where I care about that false start. Like, yes, that false start derailed a decent offensive drive, but the way this team's played the entire rest of the game doesn't make me have any prayer or hope of a thought that if that had gone their way, it would have worked out well for them at all. Lots of bad stuff, but nice play by Demetrius Knight saves the day for now. Yeah, it made me feel... It made me... That Demetrius Knight interception made me feel like, you know, I could feel the feeling of happiness briefly. And then the defense... and then the offense came out and had a 3-and-out, and the defense just completely shat the fucking bed on the last drive. So we went from like, hey, interception, maybe if we do something crazy, then we can get back in this game. We went from that to just completely shitting the bed immediately after that and letting them get a touchdown anyway. With no time left on the clock, by the way. Like, that Demetrius Knight interception, all it ended up doing was just delaying the inevitable. Like, you guys understand we're winning the turnover battle right now, and we're still losing 20-3. Like, that has been such a, you know, not obviously not every single game, but that has been such a theme lately of, you know, some of these, like, you know, games is where the Bengals are winning the turnover battle, and they're playing so badly otherwise that they get shat on the whole rest of the game. Man. Thank God I've got a YouTube channel and I can bitch about this, and then I can wake up in the morning and be like, wow, that sucked, and then go to work and have a normal life after that, right? Maybe I can get excited about the Reds. Maybe they have a miracle playoff run in them. I don't know. Maybe, is it the Joe Burrow jersey? Is it because I'm wearing a Joe Burrow jersey that... Is it because I'm wearing a Joe Burrow jersey and he's hurt? Is that why we're losing? You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I was thinking about it earlier, and because I couldn't find a Joe Burrow jersey. I'm gonna see if the quitter jersey helps. My old Carson Palmer jersey from when I was like 16 years old, and when he quit on the team, this is from that's like, and this has been through the wash and everything, and still I'm shocked that it still looks that good, right? But yeah, I'm sure probably at this point it's probably like, if I took this off, probably the Palmer part would be like destroyed. So I don't know. But just for the sake of being funny and talking a little trash, because I don't even know what the hell else to do. I think I'm gonna, I'm gonna wait until after the kickoff. 'Cause I gotta pee. Seems like a good idea to pee for the D, but I'm afraid if I do it with like 1:20 left to go before the half starts, that I'm gonna miss the kick itself. And it looks like we're about to come back from commercial anyways. That's probably the right move. So after kickoff, I will go pee for the D, and I'll change into the quitter jersey, right? What do you mean fix the scoreboard? What's wrong with the scoreboard? Oh, 21. It's nitpicking. You're right, Mikey. I know. Go baseball. Kyle, what's happening? We fucking suck, Mikey. That's what's happening. We're fucking completely... We're up shit creek. I think Zach Taylor needs to go. And that's me saying Zach Taylor needs to go. That's what's happening. They're undisciplined. They're fucking pathetic looking out there. I mean, the offense is bad, but the defense looks just as bad, despite playing well at the beginning of the game, and frankly playing pretty okay against the Vikings, you know? Just absolutely looking like a complete fucking joke. At least we were winning. Yeah, we were briefly winning there for a little bit, you know? We were up 3-0. That was pretty cool, and then we let the Broncos score 21 straight. Yeah, we had a pretty decent offensive drive at the beginning, and we got a field goal. And then the defense came out. They looked really good. They got a 3 and out. And then the offense came out, and they did not do as well. We got a really questionable false start penalty on Ted Karras when I think it should have been called on the Broncos. But either way, the offense wasn't looking as good on that drive. And then from that point, the entire game fucking collapsed. Like, you know, the Broncos' last drive of the first quarter, they got a touchdown, and ever since then, it's just been a complete the one of the worst quarters I've ever seen from the Bengals. Demetrius Knight got an end zone interception, and it didn't matter because the offense was so bad. The offense was so bad that they from the interception they went 3 and out, punted it back to the Broncos, and the defense looked like fucking Swiss cheese, and let him get a touchdown anyway. And all that served to do was run all the time off of the clock in the second half. Or in the second quarter. So frankly, that Demetrius Knight interception, while making me feel really good in the moment, turned out to actually probably make things hurt worse in the end. So now it's going to be the first play of the quarter, of the third quarter, which I'll change it to from the halftime here in a second, and it's going to be a wide receiver screen, and once again, it gets like 8 goddamn yards on that play because it's the exact same. There's been no adjustment made. Great. We're going to have to sit through this shit for another fucking half an hour probably. Good Lord. All right, well, let me... All right, it's quarter 3. Saints football, that's what? Yeah, they look like the Saints right now. They look like the Bengals look like the Saints. That's how bad they look. Against the Broncos team that hasn't looked very good, by the way, lately. All right, J.K. Dobbins doesn't get very much, but just kind of like dances his way into a first down. This is awful, man. This is awful. Hi, Hurricane Mikey. Y'all going down in the power rankings? Yeah, dude, I don't disagree with you. I do not disagree with you. I think we should be wherever the Saints are. You should have us like right there with them. Like, we're awful right now. We're just completely just god awful right now. It's not even. Good Lord, this is the same too. This is the same team that beat the Jaguars after Joe Burrow got hurt. I cannot believe that. That's a good play there to tip the pass from Bo Nix. It's 2nd and 10, so the thing that sucks about that is I have to think about the fact that now it's like, yeah, that was a great play. Tip the pass, and now there's, you killed the play. But now you have to kill like 2 more plays. And I just don't know if they can kill 2 more plays. Second and 10. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope that. I desperately want this team to prove me wrong. I really, really do. I just don't think they will. And that's going to be a really weird-looking fake handoff from Bo Nix, and he gets about like a yard, maybe 2 on the run. I think he might have mishandled that snap a little bit. Good news is Trey Hendrickson's out there. It looked like he got banged up a little bit earlier, and he's back in there now, so that's good. 3rd and 8. It's like, man, if the defense can get off a field here, then I don't even know if I want to believe in the concept of hope, but come on. Let's go. Bo Nix, shotgun snap, rolls back, and he's outrunning Miles Murphy. He's going to throw it deep to nobody. That was I don't know if he was throwing it away or just completely missing the shot there. I don't know. But, hey, defense comes up on that play. So, if the offense can get something going, then maybe we can get something going here. I mean, I don't even want to talk about anything. I don't even want to suggest that I think a comeback's even remotely likely, but I mean, what's the point of watching football if you don't root for something, right? Punts away, and that's going to be returned from the 15. He's got some room down to the 30, 31. That's a pretty decent return there by Charlie Jones. All right. I am going to have a, what do you call it, a power P. And I think we're going to commercial now, so I'm going to go for the O. I was going to P for the D, but now I'm going to go for the O. And I'm going to change into my quitter jersey, because I don't know if maybe I'm jinxing the team by wearing a Burrow jersey and he's not playing, so I'm going to have the quitter jersey, because that guy, like, him quitting on the team was fucking horrendous. But it ended up working quite well for the Bengals. So maybe I can get some of that, like, BS energy going for the Bengals. I don't know. I also have to pee legitimately, so. This is not a particularly pleasant material. I guess it's better than the Jeff Blake jersey I got. Yeah. I think fabric and clothing and stuff has steadily improved consistently over time, because like those old 90s jerseys are just really uncomfortable to wear. And I'm not even really a big fan of this. It is a little lighter though. I mean, like, you know, I feel like I was getting a little too hot in that Burrow jersey. But the, fabric is also kind of scratchy, and I'm not a big fan of that. All right, well, maybe I can channel the Carson Quitter energy. That black magic going on. And hey, look at that. Look at that. All right, there's a okay little run there on 1st and 10. It's not great, but, it's better than some of the runs we've seen today. It was like, it might have been 4 yards. Probably going to give him 3, I'm guessing. Yeah, they gave him 3. We can all hope they kill all the plays on defense. Well, you know what? If they play great on defense the rest of the game, we maybe have a shot. Maybe we can get some defensive scores. Like a pick 6 or 2 pick 6s and a fumble recovery touchdown. And if we just do what the Vikings did to us last week, then maybe we can win. Samaje Perrine's going to take the handoff, and he has a nice little run there. He picks up about, I want to say 6 yards, and it should be about 3rd and 2 after that. Thanks for the entertainment, no matter the score. I mean, thank you guys for showing up and giving me an opportunity to vent. Like, at the end of the day, it's also at the end of the day. I mean, I know this maybe sounds like blasphemy to say, frankly, but at the end of the day, it's just football. Like, if my football team sucks, then that sucks, but, it's not the end of the world. Just got back from HSR, so that's why I missed the first half. Fair enough, Mikey. Fair enough. You didn't miss much. First quarter was okay, but the second quarter was awful. Jake Browning gets hit as he throws, and just a complete disaster job by the offensive line. And it's going to be 4th and 2. The defense is going to have to come out and ball out. I'm telling you that right now. The defense is going to have to ball out for the Bengals to have any shot here. Because the offense just really looks completely lost. Like, they just look like they have no idea what they're doing out there. All right, Ryan Rico, punt is away. That's an okay punt to the 15, and PJ Jules rips the ball out of his hand. I don't think you're supposed to do that. He called for a fair catch. I mean, that would be awesome if this was a punt return, but I don't think that's going to be the case. He definitely 100% called for a fair catch. I mean, he did stop, but I mean, you can make the argument that was muffed. I don't know. Yeah, fair catch interference. I thought they were gonna call that. Like, I'm almost not mad at PJ Jules. Like, maybe a little mad. Like, you don't need to be getting that close to the fair catch guy, but he did. Yeah, like he kind of ran into him. He kind of ran into him. So, I mean, at that point, you might as well just try to get a fumble out of it. Like, if you're gonna fair catch interfere at all, you might as well go all the way with it, right? Whatever. So what? That's gonna have the ball. The Broncos gonna get the ball at like the 40-yard line or something after that. Like, I'm not even entirely sure I care. Like, the defense is going to have to come out and absolutely fucking ball out anyway. So if they're going to do that, it doesn't really matter if they have the ball at the 10-yard line or the fucking 40-yard line, Like, the defense is going to have to come out and make some sort of crazy-ass play for any semblance of anything. And I'm not excusing PJ Jules. You need to be more careful. But I think I kind of don't care right now. Like, it's the pressure's on the defense, and I don't think the pressure's on the defense anymore than it was at like the 10-yard line, because like I don't know if a punt right now is like I don't know if forcing a punt right now is going to help too much. You've got to get the offense some like really good field position, because they can't get a goddamn thing done, and every time they do, they shoot themselves in the foot with a penalty and push themselves back. Like, that's the thing, you have all these weapons. And you have all this potential on offense, but none of it matters when you're out there constantly making these boneheaded fucking mistakes. Last week it was turnovers, and this week it's fucking penalties. Like, it's just constant. Like, brain fart, brain fart, brain fart. Like, they're so completely undisciplined and unprepared to play out there right now. And I don't understand how these professional players are not more prepared to play every week. Like it'd be one thing if they came out and they had a bad game, here or there, but like it's just 2 weeks in a row, and frankly they didn't look that prepared against the Jaguars and the Browns either. They kind of stole one against the Browns. I'm not saying they should have lost that game, but they could have lost that game the way they were playing. Like, it wouldn't have been shocking if the Browns came away with a win that week. And then the Jaguars, I think they were mostly running off of vibes against the Jaguars, right? Like they were pissed off about Joe Burrow being hurt, and they already were playing well, and they just kind of like kept the momentum going. But in the 2 games since, there's just been there's been nothing. They've just been completely unprepared. It looks like they've already given up on the goddamn season, which is crazy because Joe Burrow is potentially coming back this year. And all you got to do is win 5 games until he gets back, which the wild thing is, as mad as I am right now, this doesn't mean the season's over. This just means I'm royally fucking pissed. But I was talking before about, with the way the Packers look right now, the Packers might be a winnable game. You might be able to steal one there. The Lions are the fucking Lions. You got 2 games against the Ravens, and you can probably win at least one of them. The Lions are up and down, but, you could maybe catch the Lions off guard. I'm not saying they will, but they could catch the Lions off guard. The Packers are a lot more winnable than we thought. If you can at least split with the Steelers and Ravens, and then you can pick a win up against the Packers, and you can pick up a win against the Lions, and then you can pick up a win against, the Bears, then potentially Joe Burrow's coming back there against the Dolphins in week, 16? And then, if you can win out the rest of the season, with Joe Burrow, then that's on the table. But you can't be looking like this every fucking week. Like, you're completely undoing all the momentum you had from the 2-0 start by looking like absolute fucking garbage. And it's early in the season, we can still turn it around, but it's so deflating to watch him play like this, The defense mostly looks inept. The offense looks maybe okay, but they're constantly shooting themselves in the foot. There's a flag on the play, and I'm guessing that's going to be on the Bengals because Bo Nix missed the guy, but he might have been being held there. Now they're calling it on the Broncos. All right. I didn't see what they called on the Broncos, but I thought the Bengals might be called for defensive holding. They're calling offsides, so I guess Pat Bryant must have lined up offsides. So at that point, nothing really matters after the I guess the play still counts, right? So I guess if the Bengals were holding on that play, then that'd be one thing. But it's going to be 2nd and 10. What? 2nd and 10. Did they decline the penalty? I really don't understand some of these decisions from the Bengals. Maybe that one I get if that gives them the down back. It doesn't fucking matter. It really doesn't matter because every time the Broncos get the fucking ball, the Bengals take 10, give them 11 or 12 yards on every fucking play. This is awful, man. Thank God football doesn't matter, right? That's the silver lining. Every week I'll give you a silver lining about if the Bengals are bad. Well, there's the silver lining. Football doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's just a fucking sport. If the Bengals are bad, that doesn't mean the life has to be bad. Just a fucking game, I guess. J.K. Dobbins is gonna take the handoff, and it takes him 5 years to bring him down, and he gets 5 yards when he should have gotten 1. And there's a flag on the play. I was guessing holding on the Broncos, my guess, because I didn't really see anything happen. It is holding on the Broncos. And that's the thing, the Broncos aren't exactly super disciplined in this game, but they're nothing like the Bengals are. The Bengals are just complete fucking train wreck as far as discipline goes in this one. It's just man, it's they come to play every week, every single goddamn one of them has a hangover. That's what it looks like. That's really what it looks like. It looks like they all got 4 hours of sleep last night, had way too much alcohol. They're feeling sick. 1st and 25 after the holding call. From the 31-yard line. So I guess that kind of helps. J.K. Dobbins. There's going to be a missed tackle from Jordan Battle, but there's 3 more Bengals players in the vicinity, luckily. So J.K. Dobbins gets tackled because 3 human beings are able to take down 1 human being. That's good, at least. At least we still know that 3 Bengals players could take down J.K. Dobbins. Because I can tell you right now, if me and 3 of my friends try to take down J.K. Dobbins, he'd probably run right through us. So at least we know the Bengals defense is better than me and my friends, right? We know the Bengals defense is better at playing football than I am. So that's good news, right? And they letting another and the Bengals look like they're trying to rip the ball out on every play at this point, which you really kind of need to. You got to go for the with how far back you are right now, you you need a shot in the arm like that. And the Broncos get another flag, so they're starting to get a little undisciplined here. Not that I think it really matters, an eligible man downfield, and I don't even know if the Bengals are they gonna take the penalty or I don't even know. Welcome to the basement. I guess it just wasn't one game. Nope. No, it sure wasn't, Mikey. Sure wasn't. Now, again, I still stand by what I said about how last week, if it wasn't for all the fucking turnovers, they would have been competitive in that game. But this one is not even that. This one's just that they look completely fucking lost out there. They did a good job of defending the screen, and Geno Stone cleans it up, so they are going to hold them to fourth down, and they're going to get the ball back. But the offense has got to get in the fucking end zone. Like, a field goal doesn't really help you at this point. Like, we're over halfway through the third quarter, and we need something. We need something. The defense doing their job. Okay, good job. Good job. I'll give the defense credit. You got it done. You know, you got a lot of help from Broncos penalties, but you got the job done. You know what? Give the defense credit where it's due. But it's not going to matter if the offense doesn't get a touchdown on this drive. Like, they have to get a touchdown. And that punt goes through the end zone, so that's a touchback, which is good news for the Bengals. Basement buddies. Feels like it. We're not basement buddies. And the reason I say that is because the Browns' record is still worse than ours, I think. I actually might be wrong about that. We might be in the basement after this game. Well, no, because we'd have the same, because the Ravens are 2-2, right? So we'd have the same record as the Ravens. Yeah, the Steelers are 3-1. The Browns are 1-3. Okay, so the Browns are still in the AFC North basement. So the Browns are still worse than all of us. I'm not sure if the Browns are actually worse than the Bengals right now, but we did beat them week 1, so we can at least have that in our back pocket. The Dolphins beat the Jets 27-21. The way that game was going, I'm surprised the Jets came back. Well, whatever. I don't know if I really care. What you thinking? 28 next week for the Bengals. Who do we play against? The Lions? No, probably not. I don't think I'm gonna pick the Bengals to win next week, honestly. The Bengals have to show me something before I pick them to win again. Like, this is pathetic. The Ravens are indeed 1-3. You're right. So the Ravens are 1-3, and the Browns are 1-3. So the Bengals will actually be in second place in the AFC North. You know, so we're not basement buddies. Like, it feels like we're basement buddies. It feels right now like we're 0-4, because the season basically started over once Joe Burrow got hurt, and yeah, we beat the Jaguars, but we lost Joe Burrow, so it felt like we lost that game. Even though we did technically win the game, it felt like we lost because we lost Joe Burrow. And then since then, we've just looked like a complete fucking dumpster fire. Just absolutely horrendous. But we're not in the basement. We're still somehow better than the Ravens. And better than the Browns. I don't think somehow better than the Browns. Like, the Browns is the Browns. We all know that. But the Ravens, us being better than the Ravens is crazy. That is kind of wild. Now, the Ravens have also, their losses have been to better opponents than us. We lost to the Vikings, and if we don't do something, like I said, if we don't get a touchdown on this drive, then I think you can probably chalk this one up as a loss. All right, it's going to be a play-action pass. Not a very convincing one, but I guess convincing enough to get a wide open. Is that Yoshi? That's Andre Yoshivas. Okay, not wide open, but ahead of his guy enough that he's able to basically juke him and pick up a couple extra yards before he gets taken down. But that's going to be about a 20-yard play, and that's the type of stuff you need to see. And that's the type of stuff that you really have seen, just not consistently enough, partially because of all the goddamn penalties. And then last week it was the turnovers, right? Like, you still see plenty of that stuff. Like, this offense has high caliber potential, regardless of who's quarterback. But it's going to be a toss to Jamar Chase, who catches that through a lot of contact for 8 yards, but might even be 7 yards. But, hell of a catch there, though, through all that contact. Couple overthrows by Jake Browning, just not really getting the job done. Chase Brown gets a nice run there. There you go. The offense getting it done. All right, if we can get in the end zone, then I'm still not feeling great. But there's a chance. If they get in the end zone, then we're only down by 11 in theory. I guess 12 if we miss the extra point, but like it looks like a lot more manageable of a game if the offense can get it together and the defense is indeed playing better. Then I wouldn't call a comeback, but I'm just saying it's not impossible. Jake Browning shotgun snap. He's gonna roll back, fakes the handoff, got to go all the way back, and I think the Bengals gonna get called for holding on this one. Yep. Holding on Ted Karras, who was getting pushed back in the process as well. Like, Jake Browning would have eaten dirt pretty badly if Ted Karras wasn't holding there. So, and honestly, the sack probably would have been, well, yeah, the sack might have been better. Although we do get to replay first down, so maybe that's better than losing the down. I don't know. Yoshi sure was. Yeah, Yoshi. Yeah, Yoshi's always good for like at least one or two really good plays in the game. All right, Jake Browning getting swarmed and he gets sacked. So after all that, it doesn't really even matter. Ted Karras might as well have let him go down. Nick Bonito on the sack, I believe. Amarius Mims just getting completely roasted on the spin move there. Like, I don't even understand. Like, he's supposed to be our best offensive lineman, too. He looked pretty... He looked like he had no idea what he was doing on that play. 2nd and 27 now. Jake Browning rolls back. He's going to throw it short. It's going to be like a screen pass to Chase Brown. Makes one guy miss. Picks up about 9 yards or so. So it's going to be 3rd and 16, probably. 17. It's going to be 3rd and 17. So, I mean, like, it's not impossible, but that Broncos crowd is roaring so badly that the camera's shaking, so he's going to take some real fucking discipline to get this, to convert this play, and I just don't... I haven't seen any discipline out of him all day. Alright, shotgun snap. Jake Browning rolls back, empty formation. That's actually pretty decent protection, but he's just rolling all the way out of bounds. And he throws out of bounds because he can't find anybody open. And the pocket was collapsing, but he had a little bit of time there. The Bengals did a pretty good job of, scheming that pass protection. And I see T. Higgins fell down. That was part of the problem. And once again, we're punting from the 49. Rico boots the ball away, and that one is going to be fair caught at the 6-yard line. So it was actually a pretty good punt there by Ryan Rico. I don't know if it's going to matter. We're almost to the 4th quarter, and it's still 21-3. I told you guys that the Bengals needed a touchdown on that drive if we had a feeling of like maybe there's some hope, right? Because a touchdown on the next drive, that's good, right? Like if the Bengals get a quick 3-and-out here on defense and they get a touchdown on the next drive, then you're like then obviously at that point it's like, what would it be? 11-point ball game. It'd be an 11-point ball game, and so it's like, obviously they could, they could pull it together. Obviously, like 11 points isn't insurmountable if you do get your shit together, but you've pretty much got to be damn near perfect at that point. Like, you've got maybe one drive that you can screw up. And then after that, you've got to get your shit together. So, again, it's not like they're, shit out of luck right now. Like there's an opening there, but that window is barely cracked open. And with the way the offense is playing, it's hard to imagine that they're gonna go through the window. You know, it's hard to imagine that they're gonna have any chance of getting through the window. With the amount that window is cracked, it would require a level of nimbleness that I do not think that this team is currently capable of. What's crazy to me is like we're the only ones with a turnover right now, and we're getting our asses handed to us because the offense has shown some flashes here and there, and then just killed themselves with penalties, and then punted the ball away, and then Ryan Rico's had a bad day punting. The most recent punt was good, I'll give him that. But for the most part, Ryan Rico's had a bad day of punting. And then you got special teams penalties. And then you've got a couple defensive penalties. And then there's also a couple drives where the defense just looked absolutely, completely unable to handle the Broncos offense. So, like, man, like, you know, a pick six would help. A pick six would really help, but like, see, that's the thing. Like, the problem is right now we're at the point where we're, you know, hoping that we can get something crazy like a pick six to happen. Because without that, without a pick six, it's really hard to imagine this. Like, even if they get like a 3-and-out here, it's really hard to imagine the offense getting its shit together enough to be able to like inspire any confidence. So it's actually going to be at the 7-yard line where I guess the fair catch happened. So it's good field position for the defense, but I don't know if I care. They give him about 3 yards on the run, maybe 3.5. Jamar Chase is arguing with Zach Taylor about something. I didn't see what it was. I don't know. It's looking bad, dude. It's looking bad for this iteration of the Bengals right now. I think Zach Taylor might be living on borrowed time right now. And he's lucky to be with a team like the Bengals, who's extremely unlucky, and just a fucking first down. Zach Taylor's extremely lucky right now to be with a team like the Bengals, who are very unlikely to fire him mid-season. He's probably going to have the whole season to try to get something going, unless they completely tank. Like if they're like, you know, if they've got like 2 wins in November, then the Bengals might fire Zach Taylor mid-season. But you know, if they're hanging around and shit, which this team's talented enough to do, then there's no way they're gonna do that. Like if they got like 3 or 4 wins. Playing defense like this, I don't know how they're going to do that. It gets a fucking screen pass to Franklin, and he just sprints for a fucking first down because there's nobody in his way. And I do not understand. And part of the problem was Dax Hill was blitzing, and Bo Nix saw that immediately, and he was like, nope. That's why there was nobody there. But it's just because you're not fooling anybody with that blitz. Like, what are you doing? That was just a poor play call, I think. Like, I don't think a lot of this is Al Golden's fault, but I think that was a poor play call on defense. J.K. Dobbins bouncing around the backfield, and the Bengals do bring him down. I think he might have gotten to back to the line of scrimmage. But there's at least one good play, you know? Maybe I can become a play collector for the Bengals, you know? Like good plays are rare for this team right now, so I'm just going to collect all the good ones I can. You know, like Pokemon, got to catch them all. Got to catch all the good plays that the Bengals have. You know? And then I can just have the memories of the times when they had a good play. Because that's about all I got at this point. I don't know if I have anything left. Did the Broncos take a timeout with 6 seconds left in the third quarter? Why? On 2nd and 10 on their own. I'm so confused. See, this is the thing, man. Like, the Broncos have looked kind of weird and discombobulated throughout this game, but not nearly as badly as the Bengals. It's just... Man. I just don't even know what to say at this point. I just don't even know how to even analyze this. Like, beyond just the Bengals suck. Like, that's all I got right. All I got right now is that the Bengals suck. Like, I have nothing else to say. You know. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to fucking record tonight. My voice isn't really doing great for me right now. The recap show is what I mean, and there's another fucking first down. You know, 2nd and 10, and the defense has got this halfway decent positioning, and they just completely let him do whatever they want. They're making Bo Nix look like John fucking Elway, man. I'm so fucking tired of seeing like this shit. And I'm not blaming the broadcast by any means. They're doing what they do, right? But I'm so tired from a Bengals standpoint of just having to see this shit where the cutaway thing that they do is where, the opposing team is like, yo, yeah, great job, man. And then you got somebody like Jamar Chase or Joe Burrow or whatever on the sideline sighing. And it's like, it seems like every fucking week we got that going on. And I'm just tired of it, you know? It wears you down. It's not even interesting, man. Like, you gotta find reasons to like I've gotta convince myself to keep watching this game, cause, it's kind of my job. But I'll tell you, everything in me right now is just saying turn the fucking game off. There's no point. Cause the defense doesn't seem like they give a shit anymore. It feels like they've already given up on the game at this point. The offense is completely inept. They were looking okay earlier, and they got all those penalties, and it just seemed like it deflated their spirits, and now they're sad, and they don't care. Man, I have no analysis. Well, obviously this jersey's kind of uncomfortable. This jersey clearly hasn't helped at all, so I'm going to go put the Joe Burrow jersey back on. I don't think it's going to help, but feel less weird. I was joking about getting Mikey a paper bag, but I might get one for myself at this rate. I mean, I'll send him one too, but in solidarity, I'll wear one for the Bengals. Did you count up the predictions yet? No, I don't typically do that until all of the games are over, Mikey. And I do that at work. I'll get around to it. I'll get to it before Thursday. Paper bag buddies? Yeah, Mikey. That's how I'm feeling right now. I mean, we can come back from 2-2, but I see zero. Give me a handoff, and he's just busting through. Like nobody even seems like they fucking care anymore. There's a flag. Can we get holding on the Broncos? We are getting holding on the Broncos, so maybe that was part of the reason for the play. But Luke Wattenberg. Remember that one time earlier in the game when Demetrius Knight got an interception and I got so excited? Those were good times. I felt really good there for about 30 game seconds. Which, in fairness, I think was about 4 or 5 real minutes. I felt pretty good. I was like, hey, you know what? Remember when the Cowboys did something crazy and came back and, at least put on a respectable performance in that game? All those flags, and I think we're going to get a false start or something. Or illegal shift? Is that what that was? On the same guy, too. Man. Can we get Mike Tomlin? We might need Mike Tomlin to win football games at this point. We might need some of that voodoo magic. I'm just, I'm just, I'm so broken with this team right now. Bo Nix is going to throw it deep, and he's got a man, and it's dropped, thank God. Franklin was wide fucking open for that, too. I mean, not like wide open. He had guys around him, and he might have partially dropped it because he was about to get sandwiched. But they left him open enough to make the catch. One of my teachers said we should bring back the paper bags. Yeah, we wore paper bags at one time, too, Mikey. It wasn't just you. Back in the 90s, that's what we were wearing. At least you still have wins. That is true. That is true. I mean, if we lose this game, then we're 2-2. And like I said, we need 5 wins with Jake Browning. And some of these other games on our schedule look a lot more winnable than I thought they were going to be. So, I mean, we do have the luxury of potentially having time on our side. Because if we can win 5 games with Jake Browning, then that'll put us at... That'll put us at 7 wins. Well, okay, after the Jaguars game. But after the Jaguars game, if we can pick up 5 more wins after that, that'll put us at 7 wins with 3 games left to go. And in theory, Joe Burrow comes back at that point, and then we can win out and go 10-7, and probably get a wild card spot at that point. Because like the Ravens look more beatable now. Pick 6 Broncos. Mikey, we're on defense. I know you're trying to do what I did to you the other day, but, like, we're on defense. And it's going to be a 4th down. Broncos going to have to punt the ball because they just completely shot themselves in the foot on that drive, which would make me feel good, but the Bengals have been doing that literally all goddamn day. We need a pick 6. That's what we need. We need a pick 6. Or a fumble recovery touchdown or something, because we're at the point where we need a massive momentum swing, like, or a punt return touchdown or something. I don't know. We need something that puts some life in this team. Punt is away, and that's going to be fair caught at the 16-yard line, I want to say, by Mitchell Tinsley, who apparently is returning kicks now, which is fine with me. Get that guy more involved in the offense because he's pretty fucking good. Like, Mitchell Tinsley is, like, probably the most underrated player on the entire Bengals squad. Like, he's not just a preseason hero. That guy, ever since Jake Browning became the quarterback, Mitchell Tinsley's been showing up. Mitchell Tinsley deserves to make the playoffs. The rest of this team does not. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be recording tonight, just because I don't think I'm going to have the voice for it. But I don't even think I'd have time to anyway. I got to finish my script. You're going to have Chris Olave just give me a 2068 7th round pick. Well, I mean, like, that seems like a fair enough deal, Mikey. I don't think Chris Olave helps us, you know? Even peak Chris Olave. I don't know if peak Chris Olave helps us. Because we've got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. We've got Mike Gesicki, who's been a really solid player for us. We don't have Noah Fant right now because I guess he's injured. But, I mean, you know, Yoshi's a pretty solid number 3. I mean, like, we've got weapons. We don't need Chris Olave. Like I'm not... I mean, for a 2068 7th round pick, I guess whatever, but... I don't know how that helps anything. Like, I don't know if he even really... I don't know if he gets on the field much with the Bengals, you know? Like, I mean, he's a very talented player, but with all of the weapons that we have and the fact that these guys all have chemistry together, like, I don't know if he beats out Mitchell Tinsley for reps right now, like, coming in this late in the season. And with our weapons are playing generally pretty well. They're about the only goddamn ones. But, like... You know, we could, you know, I like Jake Browning. I don't know if a new quarterback would actually help, frankly. I don't think, Like, bringing in Jameis Winston, I don't think would help. Like, Russell Wilson certainly wouldn't help. There's a lot we need, but weapons, like Chris Olave, I don't think would. I don't even know if Chris Olave would see the field much. Jake Brown, he's going to throw short to Chase Brown, and he picks up about 12 yards there. That's the type of play that the Broncos have been pulling on us like all fucking night, and they've been doing really well. So the fact that we got one of them is nice, but it's also like we're in the fourth quarter, which I should probably update the quarter, by the way. I'm not even... I don't really have any delusions at this point of having a comeback, but a touchdown on this drive would at least make me feel a little bit better. Jake Browning, he's going to throw and is dropped by Jamar Chase. Now, that was a tough catch in his defense. That would have been a really tough catch. You know, I don't blame him that much for that one. The Bengals' last 7 drives have resulted in 69 yards and 0 points. Well, the last 7 before the last drive, and then the last drive was 62 yards and a field goal. Wait, what? That's not right. The field goal was like near the beginning of the game. I'm so confused. That was a weird stat. Maybe I read it wrong. Jake Browning gets sacked. Y'all ought to score an 18-point touchdown. That'd be great. That'd be interesting. That'd be funny. I don't. Jalen Rivers getting absolutely worked on that play. Now he's like a 5th-round rookie, so I'm not too. That one doesn't make me as angry because I don't expect a lot out of him right now. But man, Jake Browning getting rushed again. He's just gonna have to try to dump it off to Samaje Perine, and he doesn't get anywhere near him. And Samaje Perine wasn't even fucking looking for it. And they're gonna have to fucking punt again. The defense is going to have to score. The defense is going to have to score because I don't think the offense is capable of it. And this is Zach Taylor's bread and butter is the offense. And if the offense sucks, then why is Zach Taylor still there? Like, I like things about Zach Taylor, but I'm kind of to the point where I don't know if he's helping. Like, I really like parts about Zach Taylor, and I really want Zach Taylor to be a good head coach. Because I really like Zach Taylor. He's a good guy, and I like his philosophies on certain things, and he's really great with the fans and stuff. But I don't think he's helping. I don't think he's doing anything positive for this team anymore. It's like in the past, you could at least say, like, oh, those guys fight hard for Zach Taylor, but, like, they don't even look like they're doing that anymore. The only argument you could make about Zach Taylor is that Joe Burrow likes him, but sorry, that's not good enough. We need results. Love Joe Burrow, but we're not getting a lot of results with him and Zach Taylor on the field. You know, like, I would say in general you're probably getting enough with both Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor, but obviously you didn't get enough last year. You know, Bengals missed the playoffs with a fully healthy Joe Burrow season. So it's like he doesn't even really have that excuse of like, you know, oh, well, we didn't have Joe Burrow. We had Joe Burrow last year. You missed the playoffs because you got off to such a shitty start. And yeah, they were disciplined down the stretch. But I don't think he's helping anymore. I just don't. I just don't even know what the point of keeping Zach Taylor employed is. And I hate saying that because I like Zach Taylor and I've been rooting for Zach Taylor for so long, but I can admit when I'm wrong, and I think I can say that maybe, I don't know. I mean, I definitely, I don't know. I think I was kind of right about Zach Taylor because it was kind of good there for a minute, but I think the boat sailed, and I think the system's broken, and I don't think Zach Taylor knows how to repair the system. So, while I think he was a good coach for us for a couple of years there, and I think in the moments like we caught lightning in the bottle there for a little bit, and it worked out because this crazy idea we had kind of worked out. But I think the lightning's out of the bottle now, and I don't think Zach Taylor's doing anything for you. I don't quite get it. I just don't understand. All right, Bo Nix gonna pitch it to J.K. Dobbins, and you got one guy missing him, you got another guy missing him. You got Jordan Battle can't fucking bring him down, even with Mike Pinnell's helping. It takes the third guy to fucking bring him down, and it's gonna be an 11-yard gain and a first down for the Broncos. There's really like 10 minutes left in this game. Like, it feels like we should be longer, right? It feels like the clock should be way farther down than this. Like, this has been a long game, hasn't it? Like it's been way. Hey, this game should be over by now. Realistically, you know, I should be able to turn this game off right now, right? J.K. Dobbins once again just plowing through people and no fucking tackling, and why can't Chase Brown do that? I don't understand. Like, every team we play, it seems like every time we play a team, like, you know, Chase Brown might have some good runs because like he finds a hole, and maybe there's like good run blocking on a play or two, but every time that he gets hit, he gets taken down immediately. But every running back we play, doesn't matter who it is, it takes like 14 guys to bring him down. God, this is atrocious. J.K. Dobbins for 2 yards, but that's also half the distance to first down, so. I can't tell if they've quit or not. Because frankly, it looks like it's looked all fucking day, honestly. They're just inept. They're bad at their jobs. Like, how is this the product that we're putting on the field? I don't understand. These are professional football players, aren't they? But it looks like Ohio State playing Ohio University. That's what it really looks like. The fact that the score is not higher with how they've played today boggles my mind. And there's another first down. Welcome to the rebuild stage. Well, we're not in the rebuild stage, Mikey. We are, I think where we are is we're in the bring in a different head coach stage and change up a few things here and there, but try to keep the same core together. I don't think Trey Hendrickson's coming back at this point. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, at this rate, I don't know when the trade deadline is, but we might be better off just trading Trey Hendrickson if the season continues like this. I mean, if they get it together and win some games, then no, you don't do that. But right now, I can't see them. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the rest of our schedule, and I'm like, that's a winnable game, that's a winnable game, that's a winnable game. But they're not. They're winnable games for normal football teams. But the Bengals just, without Joe Burrow, the Bengals look like they are just completely lost. They don't even know how to operate. Which is crazy, because when they lost Joe Burrow in 2023, they went on that run and almost made the playoffs. Like, where's that energy, man? Where's the desire to fight? I think the desire to fight is they're channeling all of it into trying to like force turnovers, because at this point, like, that's the only thing that's going to fix the problem is, you know, if you can get like a turnover. If you can rip the ball out and get like a big like return or something like that, then maybe. That's about it. You could hire the Bears defensive coordinator. I heard he's real good. I don't even know. I can't respond to that right now. I don't have enough information off the top of my head. J.K. Dobbins, nobody was able to. Just a lane just opens up because nobody can fucking pressure anybody. Man. Can we just, like, run the rest of the clock out? Like, I'm done. I don't want to watch this game anymore. I'm going to. I don't want to. Good God. Because, like I said, I'm going through and I'm looking at the rest of our schedule, and it's like, man, we could beat the Lions, you know? Like, well, I don't know if we could, but the Lions can be beaten. You know, the Packers lately look like they could be beaten. Hell, the Browns beat them. We genuinely might actually pull one over on the Packers. Like, that could legitimately happen. I don't know if I would pick that to happen, but it could. Steelers, I mean, like, we've got the talent to split with the Steelers. Why not? If we can split with the Steelers and split with the Ravens, and get, like, 3 more wins other than that. Now, you got Jets, Bears. You can beat the Jets and Bears, right? Right? Please tell me you can beat the Jets and Bears. But if you can split with the Ravens and Steelers, and then you can beat the Jets and the Bears, that's 4 wins, right? And you just need 1 more win, and then you've got a shot at making a playoff run with Joe Burrow when he comes back, right? And the Patriots, right? You can beat the Patriots. So that's 5 wins right there, right? Now, that also requires beating the Ravens and the Steelers, but, like, the Ravens look pretty beatable right now. And the Steelers... The Steelers look beatable despite the fact that they keep winning. But that's what they look like every year, you know? That's the best score in football, 28-3. You must be ahead of me, then. Because, for me, it's 3rd and 5. Bo Nix rolls back, he throws, it's caught, and there it is. It is indeed 28-3 now, or it's 27-3. I'm guessing they probably get the extra point. But there's only like 5 minutes left in the game, so that would be even worse than what happened to the Falcons. Like, I don't remember what point in the game 28-3 was with the Falcons, but it was like in the 3rd quarter, wasn't it? Like, it wasn't 5 minutes left to go in the game. I think I'm dead inside. I really think I am. I don't even know if I care. RJ Harvey gets in the end zone. I think he's on my fantasy team. I think that helps. But I also think he might be on the bench, too. There it is. It's 28-3, but it's 4:58 left to go in the game, so I don't know if... I don't know if I care. 28-3, so beautiful. That's great. I'm dead inside too. Well, we can be dead inside together, Mikey. I don't think I'd call us basement buddies because we're still going to be in 2nd place in the AFC North. Like, that hasn't changed. Which is why I say, like, the playoffs require us getting our shit together, which I don't know if they're capable of that right now. But at the moment, we're number 2 in the division, and we're going to stay number 2 in the division regardless of what this result is. So... anything could happen. Man. My buddy Josh live shouted, "What the fuck are you doing?" at PJ Jules when he grabbed the ball. He said the call was weird. At what point have you failed to catch the ball? And I don't think that's what really matters. Like, I think that was a legitimate... Like had it not been a fair catch... that would be a legitimate potential fumble, but because he called for the fair catch and then PJ Jules interfered with the fair catch by running into him, that's where the fair catch interference is. Well, at least the Browns still suck, right? Hey, the Browns are still bad. We're not the Browns. We could be worse. We could be the Browns because Joe Burrow's going to come back. You know, I don't know if he's going to come back to a team that's going to make the playoffs this year, but there's always next year. And, like, our potential of being good next year is higher than the Browns' potential of being good next year. So that's the silver lining. Mikey, I actually didn't even think about this, but, like, didn't the Falcons win this week? I mean, like, they beat the Washington Commanders, which are looking a little suspect right now, but they won this week, so... Shut the fuck up. Well, they did win, though. Hey, look, dude, I have to deal with the fact that the Steelers won. So, you can deal with the fact that the Falcons won. You can deal with the fact that the Falcons won if I have to deal with the fact that the Steelers won. And the Bengals are going to false start. Just kneel the clock out. I just forfeit the game. I'm done. Just please, just forfeit. Just get it over with. Just put us out of our misery. Just let the game end. I want to go to bed, honestly. I want to go to work tomorrow. You know what? Because like I you know. I think if I buy a red shirt, they'll let me buy a red shirt. And it's going to be a handoff to Andre Yoshivas, which goes for like 2 yards. It's going to be a Yoshi run. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 now. So was the whole... Wait, I'm confused. There was a penalty on the Bengals. Was the penalty for 2 yards? I'm confused. I'm very confused. Because Yoshi definitely got a couple yards on that play. Huh. Jake Browning's going to throw it short. It's a wide receiver screen to Jamar Chase, who gets, good lord, Mike Gesicki just gets blocked into Jamar Chase, and he gets taken down for no gain. This is what I'm talking about. Other teams run these same fucking plays, and they cut us open like fucking butter. But when we try these plays, it never, like nothing ever happens. It's like we have to bust our ass to get anything done on every single play. And for them, if every team we play, it just feels like, you know, I mean, kind of a crapshoot of whether they get a play done or not. But when they do get plays done, they just absolutely, like, annihilate us. T. Higgins with the slant pass, and he gets taken down with, like for a 5-yard pass on 3rd and 9. So, like, it's 4th and 3, and, like, what, are we going to go for it? Like, you might as well. I don't know if I even care. 30-0, every single one. Yeah, but y'all haven't won a game. So, like, I get it, but y'all haven't won any games, and they've won 2. Oh, we're punting. Okay, cool. I don't care. And it's a pretty decent punt, I guess, by Ryan Rico, considering how far back he was, and he gets it to bounce inside the 20. Cool. At least we got the number 2 pick. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna do anything with it? Are you gonna draft anybody who's actually gonna change anything though? That's the problem. Like, you know, you don't always get Joe Burrow with a high draft pick, and even when you do get Joe Burrow, apparently doesn't fucking, you know, you get like one shot, and then it doesn't matter after that. If you don't capitalize on that one shot. At least I can have the good memories of that one time we played in the Super Bowl and almost won if it weren't for Aaron Donald. Or I could be a shithead and complain about the refs. But I really don't want to. Let me live and dream. Well, if I don't get to live and dream, then why should you? I don't get to dream. I have to watch the Bengals. I have to watch this pathetic fucking football team that's done nothing for my entire life but just completely screw my fucking emotions up. God damn. And I can't get away from it either. Like, the only way I get out of this is if the Bengals move out of Cincinnati. And that's not happening. You know, they signed a stadium deal. And I wouldn't want it to happen anyway. I wouldn't want to lose the Bengals just because I'm mad at them. But, I mean, they're going to be here probably my whole life. And I'm just going to be a Bengals fan forever. There's no way out of this. Other than me, I could choose not to be a Bengals fan, but I don't know if I'd really be staying true to myself if I tried to make that decision, because I'm always going to emotionally want the Bengals to win, whether I like it or not. And they just keep fucking doing this to me. Like I said earlier, football doesn't really matter. Like I'm not out there playing this game. I didn't do anything wrong. You know, I predicted the Bengals might win this game, but obviously they got their asses absolutely fucking handed to them, and so there was no fucking chance. So I look kind of silly now, but other than that, it's not like I'm bad because the Bengals are bad. You know, football doesn't define me as a human being, right? Because I don't even play football. And then the Bengals, they can't feel that bad because they got, you know, a lot of the guys out there making millions and millions of dollars, and the guys who aren't out there are getting paid to watch football from the sidelines, which would be a hell of a career. You know, I know they have to like be on practice squads and stuff, and that's still a wear and tear on your body and stuff. But you know, you're not out there on game day risking your, you know, long-term health and stuff. So, I mean, that's honestly, that sounds like a hell of a job. Like to, like I mean, if you've got the athleticism for it, if you can be like a perennial NFL practice squad type of guy and just like always just kind of like be on the periphery, but never actually have to play in the games and stuff like that, and so you get paid to be on the sideline and hang out with, you know, like NFL players, and you know, I guess worst case scenario, you end up on a team that you hate. So, like, if I ended up on the Steelers, that would be, like, kind of annoying. But you'd also be getting, that would be your career, would be to sit on the sidelines and stuff, and like, at NFL football games. And, like, we pay, you know, as fans, we pay hundreds of dollars, for the most part, for, you know, decent seats to an NFL game. And, you know, the guys on the practice squad and who, like, the third stringers and stuff like that, for the most part, just get paid to watch the games from the best seats in the building. And not all of them are making millions and millions of dollars, but, you know, the ones who aren't making millions and millions of dollars also aren't getting as much wear and tear on their body. So, you know. You slept good twice, I have 0 wins. I'm still gonna get good sleep after this. I'm joking around and like I'm, you know, but it is really genuinely true that like football doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I'll sleep fine tonight. I'm gonna be pissed off about the game, and I'll commiserate in my misery with other Bengals fans tomorrow. But it is just football, you know. It's not the end of the world. This is more than a game for Saints fans. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry about that for you. It's more than a game for Saints fans. I get that for like LSU fans, but like I get that for football players, but for the fans, like, I mean, you can feel how. I'm not telling you how to feel. By the way, you can feel whatever way you want to feel. I'm saying for me, I got other things in life going on than football. I wish my team wasn't an embarrassing sack of shit, but they are. And the Broncos are finally going to just kneel on it. And you know, I'm going to get to, like, leave the stream before 11:30 so I can, you know, maybe get, like, a midnight snack or something before I go to bed. I don't fucking know. What a draining fucking experience. Kitty goes meow. They went a very weak, soft, like they went sickly meow today. They went. That's what they went today. They went pathetic. Whatever the most pathetic meow you've ever heard in your life is, that's what the Bengals did today. This wasn't even like I said, at least with the Vikings game, you came away from it thinking, hey, if they don't turn the ball over like 5 times, then they looked like they might have had a chance in that game. That could have turned out better for the Bengals if they had just been a little bit more disciplined. In this one, like, you could maybe make the argument that if it weren't for all the fucking penalties, then they may have had a better result. But, like, the way this game went, the way the defense looked through half of the fucking game, through the other half of the game, the defense looked pretty good. But through half of the game, they just looked like they were just fucking done. And I almost kind of don't blame them. But, like you can't justify this one away. Like, this one is just like, we came out against a team that we should be able to beat, that hasn't looked very good lately, and we got our asses absolutely fucking whooped. Absolutely run around the corner like we're like a fucking, I don't even know what you call it, like a Pop Warner team. You know, like I said, Ohio University trying to play Ohio State. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt. And it felt like we were outclassed, out talented, out focused. You know, like out coached, out everything. You know, I talk about all the time my skepticism of Sean Payton as a head coach. At least compared to what his reputation is. But good Lord, compared to Zach Taylor in this game, I don't even know what to say at this point. I'm not saying fire Zach Taylor right now, because if you fire your coach, then you're not, like, the season's over. That's just the way it is. Like, you know, sometimes teams go, like, if the guys in the locker room hate the head coach so badly that, you know, they feel motivated by him leaving, then sometimes that will motivate a team to play better with the interim head coach. But it's more often than not that doesn't happen. The teams continue to play bad with the interim coach. And it's really unlikely they're going to play so much better with an interim coach that they're going to start winning all these football games, right? So, the way I see it, your best bet, if you still believe that you can turn things around, you don't fire Zach Taylor. Not because you condone what he's doing, but just because, like, if there's any hope, it has to be with Zach Taylor than without Zach Taylor. But I see zero reason to keep him around once the season's over, right? And I don't just mean, like, if it's like, what am I saying? I don't just mean at the end of the actual season. I mean, like, let's see here. If, like, we've got some tougher games coming up, and that's where you're really feeling bad. You know, maybe they can get some surprises. They can come out, beat the Packers and the Lions. That'd be crazy. But you never know. Like, I mean, they're at home against the Lions. Maybe that helps. I don't know. This has been a long road stretch, so that's something. Maybe they can get it done at home against the Lions, and then they can take down a Packers team that's been looking a little weaker lately. I don't know. And then if they do that, then they're 4-2, and you're feeling better. But here's the thing. If they lose to the Lions, and they lose to the Packers, and then they lose to the Steelers, I think at that point, you've got to punt on the season. And at that point, it might be worth getting rid of Zach Taylor. Like, just get him out of here. Tell Joe Burrow, like, sorry, I know that's your boy, but, like, we can't keep doing this. You know, we're investing how much fucking money in you, and and the results aren't there. So we have to make changes. Like, if you don't like it, then you can go find another job, because unless you're the owner of the team, you really just can't be making decisions like that, you know? Only 3 points. Rest in peace, Bengals playoffs. They miss Burrow. They really do miss Burrow, but Burrow doesn't play defense, and the defense was like 50-50 today with whether they were going to have a really good drive or whether they were just going to like look like Swiss fucking cheese out there. So I don't know if Burrow changes that. Bengals, rest in peace, Bengals playoffs. I mean, you said that. You know what? Please continue saying that, Jim. I really hope you continue saying that, because you've been saying nothing but how bad the Reds are, and there's no chance that they're going to make the playoffs. And what did they do? They made the playoffs. So maybe if you keep saying that, maybe then the Bengals will make the playoffs. So I'm like, by all means, continue. There's no way the Bengals make the playoffs. Jim, you keep saying that. You have my blessing to continue talking shit about the Bengals' playoff chances, because it worked out well for the Reds. So maybe it'll work out for the Bengals, you know. Reds suck not being in the LCS since 1990 World Series. Yeah, but you said they were going to miss the playoffs, and now they made the playoffs. So what, are you just moving the goalposts? You're like, oh, well, I was wrong about this, but now I'm just going to distract. We're going to talk about something else now. So, you were wrong. They made the playoffs. You heard about that Bengals play? Oh, man, yeah, Rudy Johnson killed himself. At least that's, I heard. I never heard if that was confirmed or not. I never found out if it was confirmed, if it was suicide or not. Yep. See, it appears to be confirmed. So yeah, I saw some speculation. I don't know for sure. Don't listen to me as a news source, because I haven't really looked deeply into this. But I heard there was speculation that he had CTE. Obviously, that's not the type of thing that you could know until you see like an autopsy or something. And I don't know how quickly they do those types of things. But I heard he might have had CTE, and if that's true, that's really unfortunate. But man, like, Rudy Johnson was, that just sucks so much. You want to talk about somebody who was like made such an impact on my Bengals fandom when I was a kid, because like when it was like when Corey Dillon, legendary Bengals running back who was always also a pain in the ass, just eventually forced his way out of Cincinnati just because he was such a negative like piece of shit about everything. And he has improved since then. He's apologized about being such a shithead, and he's, you know, back in the good graces of the Bengals these days and everything like that. But at the time, he acted like a complete fucking shithead about it. Forced his way out. We traded him to New England, where he did go and win a Super Bowl, so good for him. But it felt like, oh man, like our running game's never going to be the same without Corey Dillon. Rudy Johnson steps in, and he's not Corey Dillon, but he's like 7/8 of Corey Dillon, right? Like, Rudy Johnson was the fucking man. I'm absolutely fucking devastated that that's how things ended for him. Like, I'm for whatever was going through him that pushed him in that direction. I'm so sorry, Rudy. You didn't deserve that. I'm so sorry, man. That's the kind of stuff that hurts. That actually hurts a lot more than the Bengals being bad. Like, the Bengals being bad sucks, but the Bengals have been bad most of my life. My whole childhood, which is like the reason I'm a Bengals fan, is because that was such a central part of my childhood. But the Bengals were like historically one of the worst, had one of the worst runs in all of sports franchises. At the time, it was the worst run in all of sports history. The Bengals in the 90s. And that sucked, but you know, it also shaped who I am as a Bengals fan today. And it also, going through the 90s, is part of what made that 21 run so special. It's because like I've said for years, you know, if the Bengals do win the Super Bowl one day, it's gonna hit like a fucking brick of just like of serotonin, and it's gonna be like taking drugs without having to take drugs, right? Because if the Bengals actually ever do win the Super Bowl one day, the amount, the rush I'm gonna get of just of euphoria is just gonna be so insane. Just because like I put so much of my emotional well-being into this team over the years, and if they ever do figure that out, it's gonna feel so fucking good. But they've also hurt me a lot over the years. But it's football hurt, you know. It's not that kind of football hurt. It's like you know, it's periphery hurt. You know, it's like my team sucks. Oh well, you know, fuck it. Life's about more than football. But man, Rudy Johnson and how things ended for him, that actually emotionally hurts. I'm devastated that Rudy Johnson, that things ended for him that way. That really is depressing. And I'm going to move on because I don't want to keep talking about it because that honestly does hurt. The Aints don't exist. Enjoy your 4-win season at best. If they even make it to 4 wins, Jim. 24-21, Jim. Yeah, that was the Steelers though, not the Saints, Mikey. Y'all have 0 wins. That was a great sick meow. That's how I feel on the inside with this team right now, is a sick meow. I don't even really like cats. I'll be honest with you. I've never been a cat person. My daughter had a cat for a while, and that cat caught a few mice, so I became friends with that cat. And I'm not like anti-cat. I'm just kind of timid around cats because cats have this tendency to like bury their claws in you, and I'm just like, I'm trying to be nice to you and you're hurting me. Why do you do this? I don't fucking like cats. You know, like I know cats can be sweet, but cats can also be just like pieces of shit, man. And dogs can be too, but like dogs are like any cat can be a shithead. Dogs tend to be shitheads if their owners are shitheads, you know? Like my dogs are fucking great. But as much as big of a Bengals fan am I, all of my teams are cat teams. I'm a Bengals fan. I'm a Wildcats fan. I'm a Bobcats fan. FC Cincinnati's got like a lion mascot. The Reds are not an animal. They're an amorphous baseball. Mr. Red is if it was a real person, Mr. Red would just be in constant misery and hell. That would be like more of a horror type of situation going on there. But yeah, like pretty much all of my favorite teams, if they are if they are modeled after sentient beings, they tend to be modeled after cats. Even though I'm not really a cat person, more of a dog person, but I don't tend to really care much for dog teams, like, you know, the Browns and the Georgia Bulldogs, and I don't have a big problem with the Georgia Bulldogs, but I don't particularly care for the Georgia Bulldogs either. It wouldn't shock me if KGM unfortunately went 2-15 this year. That would shock me. That would shock me, John. I think that's a little out of line there. I think not your being out of line, but I think the logic is a little out of line there. I don't think what would is if they only scored 3 points a game for the rest of the season. That they're gonna win more games this year, John. Like they're not gonna go 2-15. Like that would completely. That should shock you if they go 2-15. Like that would be a new level of depravity as far as how bad everything. Like they're not going to go 2-15, John. Like first of all, well, if they're that bad, Joe Burrow's not coming back this season. But hey, 28-3. Is this the first 28-3 since 28-3? No. I mean, it might be the first game to finish 28-3. I don't even know if that's true. But with the number of football games that have happened since the 2017 Super Bowl, I severely doubt that it's the first 28-3 that's happened since then. And even then, that game didn't end 28-3. That game was 28-3 at one point during the game, and then the Patriots came back and won the game. There have been several other games where it was 28-3 at one point. But as far as whether it's the first game to finish 28-3, I still don't think so, but that would be maybe more believable. Go Reds, beat LA. CTE as I forget what it stands for, but it's like you get too many concussions and your brain has like permanent damage and stuff, and it tends to cause a lot of like tends to cause your brain to not function properly. Like part of the reason Antonio Brown has like went so crazy, a lot of people have speculated is CTE, because like Antonio Brown was a relatively normal human being when he got drafted by the Steelers, but after that gigantic hit straight to the temple by Vontaze Burfict, pretty much ever since then, Antonio Brown has been a maniac. And a lot of people speculate that he might be suffering from CTE. But you can't know that. Like, there's no way to know that unless you do an autopsy of the brain. So, like, you can't ever know if somebody has CTE, technically, until they're dead. Although, I mean, I feel like a lot of diagnoses by doctors, like, are you basing that off of, like, incontrovertible evidence? Or are you being like, well, it lines up with these things? So I feel like you could still diagnose CTE that way. I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, so I wouldn't know. Bountygate. Yeah, it sure did happen. Keenum to Diggs. That also happened. The fact that Case Keenum did that was wild. But Case Keenum embarrassed us, too, one time. Not in that particular situation, but I hope they win more games. They will win more games. I don't know if they'll win enough games. But if they get their shit together, because, like, I think one of my lights is going bad. But, like, if they get their shit together, then, like, that's annoying. Maybe we'll turn the light off here. I wonder how that will affect the lighting. There we go. It's dark and moody now. Dark and moody lighting. That's what we got. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Probably being depressed about the Bengals. Dude, I look like fucking pale as shit. I mean, I am pale as shit, first of all. But I look like fucking albino in this lighting. Can I, like, turn that a little bit and add a little bit of color? Not really. Good lord. Like, I mean, I'm pretty fucking white, guys, but I think this particular lighting right now is making me look even whiter. Somehow. But, like, I'm not usually that white. That's like fluorescent. Holy shit. The Bengals are bad. Can we turn it around and make the playoffs? Yeah, we can. Why? Because there's like 13 games left in the season. Because we're 2-2, and we did win those first 2 games. So, you know, like, is it over? No, it's not over. If we, like I said, we can beat the Jets, we can beat the Bears. If we can't beat the Jets and the Bears, then I don't even know what to fucking say anymore. We can beat the Jets, we can beat the Bears, we can beat the Patriots, right? And if we can beat those 3 teams, then we just need to win 2 more games. If we can beat the Jets and the Patriots and the Bears, then we just need to win 2 more games to have a real shot at making the playoffs when Joe Burrow potentially comes back. And that could be any games, you know. That could be splitting with both the Steelers and Ravens. The way the Ravens look right now, I think splitting with them is possibly a realistic thing to say. Or at least a realistic thing to hope for. The Steelers, I mean, the Vikings almost beat them. And the Vikings destroyed us. But, like, you know, the Steelers could be I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on the Steelers right now because they pretty tough. But you know, I mean, like we could get one against the Packers. You know, like the Packers look kind of vulnerable right now. Yeah, I mean, like I would be shocked if we were able to pull off a win the way we're playing right now, especially. But then again, this will be way later in the season. Maybe we'll build a rhythm by then. I don't know. But the Bills would be shocking to me. I would have said the Ravens would be shocking to me, but the way they look right now, maybe not. So, I mean, like, I'm not saying I would put money on the Bengals finishing 10-7. I'm just saying 10-7 is possible if you can figure your shit out, get your shit together, and find a way to win some football games with what you got going on now. Because Joe Burrow's not coming back for 3 months, guys. Like, Joe Burrow's not coming back until the Dolphins game at the absolute earliest, right? That's just not going to happen. And you're not going to bring anybody in free agency who's really going to change things that much. So figure out a way to get some wins with the guys you have. And you've got the talent that you could theoretically hang with anybody if you can figure out how to not shoot yourselves in the foot constantly. Like, I think that's, if there's any sliver of hope to take away from this, it's that we lost to the Vikings so badly last week because of turnovers. If it hadn't been for turnovers, you could make an argument that, that game would have been a lot more competitive and maybe we could have, figured out a way to finish that one off. This week, it's pretty hard to make an argument that we were going to ever have a chance in this game the way we played. But maybe if you're more disciplined and you don't, commit all those flags, then the game goes better for you. And, I mean, turning that one into a win's tough. But point being, you could make an argument in both of these weeks that things could have gone a lot better if we had just been more disciplined in certain aspects, right? And is that the only thing that we need to fix? No, absolutely not. But if we do fix that, then we give ourselves a much better chance to win games. And I feel like discipline is fixable. And that's why I'm so mad at Zach Taylor right now, because discipline is fixable, and if it's not being fixed, that's on the coach. So there's nobody to blame but the coach. I hate to just straight up completely blame the coaching when obviously the players were the ones who were out there playing and they were bad. And so it's not all on the coaching, but at this point, the fact that this keeps happening, they keep playing, they keep being undisciplined, and everybody is undisciplined and unprepared, it has to be the coaching, right? And I feel like I'm being a reactionary fan, but at this point, there's no other explanation. There's just not. No chance the Dodgers win. You barely even got in the playoffs. No chance. Well, the way you worded that is not, I think, what you wanted to say, Jim. No chance the Reds win. Well, you know what, Jim? I could see a world where the Reds win against the Dodgers. You know why? Because I don't really pay attention to baseball, so I have no idea. I'm sure probably the Dodgers are much better than the Reds. I think, didn't the Dodgers win the World Series last year or something like that? I don't know. So, you're probably right, but I don't know enough about baseball to tell you why the Reds are worse than the Dodgers. So, from my perspective, you never know. The Reds could win. It'd be like if you were a person living in Cincinnati and you didn't really pay any attention to football, and somebody told you, oh, the Bengals could win this game, and you're like, well, I don't really know enough about football to tell you that's wrong. So that's how I feel about the Reds. I don't really know enough about baseball to tell you that the Reds can't beat the Dodgers. So barely even got in the playoffs, I guess, but wild card teams win sometimes. God, that Demetrius Knight interception was so good. And the fact that it meant nothing in the end. Brewers owned that division. I'm sure they did, Jim. Are you trying to talk trash to me? Because I'm not. It's not working. I don't really care that much about the Reds. I don't know enough about them to argue with you either. Just Google it. Google says not the same, some overlapping symptoms. I forget what I was even talking about. CTE. I don't know. Unfortunately, LA did win versus the World Series last year versus the Yankees. I was rooting for the New York Yankees in that one. Yeah, I remember that because I was rooting for the Dodgers. You know, like as much as I can root for a game that I'm not watching, but I just don't. I don't know much about baseball, but I know I fundamentally don't like the Yankees because I don't really like this idea that teams can just buy championships, and I feel like that's why the Yankees have so many championships, and it feels just boring when the Yankees win championships to me. So like, I don't. Like, I think Reds fans are not supposed to like the Dodgers. I think they had like a rivalry back in the 70s or something like that. I don't know. All I know is I don't personally like the Yankees. You know, it's like it's like in Super Bowl 2012 Super Bowl. I actually rooted for the Ravens just because I didn't want the 49ers to win because you know, I don't need them winning more Super Bowls. At the time, the Bengals had only been to 2 Super Bowls, and those 2 Super Bowls they lost to the 49ers both times, so I was like, yeah, fuck the 49ers. And also I knew a couple 49ers fans, so I just kind of wanted to like stick it to them. And the Ravens, like, I had not yet come to despise Ravens fans like I kind of do now. And I've always, you know, I like Baltimore. They got good crab cakes and they got good seafood. And, you know, the Ravens uniforms are kind of cool looking. And, you know, I mean, they're still a rival, so I wasn't thrilled to see them in the Super Bowl. But if it's between them and the 49ers, I was like, okay, well, you know what? Let's go with the Ravens. Why the fuck not? And then the Ravens ended up winning. I'm like, all right, that was okay. Great. Yeah, I'm not happy that they had to win, but at least it wasn't the 49ers. I deleted my comment about ADHD, CTE, and autism. I didn't read it. So, I hope there is a treatment for it. I have ADHD. I have friends with autism. I was wondering if they were similar. Well, I'm not a mental health professional, John. I have ADHD. As I understand it, there's some. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I couldn't really tell you. As I understand it, I believe there's some similarities. Like there's some sort of link there, but I don't know what that link is. I don't think ADHD is a form of autism. I just think they're part of a similar overall large sphere. But I don't really know. But CTE is not in any way, shape, or form related to ADHD or autism. It's not even remotely in the same ballpark. Like it's doesn't have the same causes, doesn't have the same effects, completely unrelated effects. Like that the CTE and autism couldn't be more different, honestly. Like that's about as far apart as you can get. Now, I mean, perhaps maybe CTE would affect people with autism slightly differently than it would affect other people. Again, I don't know. I'm not a mental health professional or anything like that. I know a little bit about ADHD because I have it, but I don't really know very much about it. I know enough to know what to avoid, I guess. The brain is different in all 3. Well, so here's part of what I'm saying. CTE is brain damage. Like CTE is traumatic brain damage, and the result of that, right? Autism is I don't know what causes autism, and I don't know what causes ADHD, but it's not brain injuries, right? It's not trauma and stuff like that. Like it's more like I think it's again I don't know, but it's like neurons and brain chemicals and stuff like that, and frankly, neither are necessarily a bad thing either. I don't think anybody would argue that CTE is anything but a bad thing, but like ADHD, it might be kind of hard to make the argument that ADHD is a good thing. Or even not like potentially a what would you call it? A roadblock. it'd be hard to make that argument about ADHD, but you can also work with ADHD pretty well. Like, I've had ADHD my whole life, apparently, and like no doctor ever bothered to diagnose me with it until I was like 32. And I've made it pretty good throughout my whole life, right? So I'm not saying ADHD isn't hard, because obviously I had it, I have it, and I know that it can be hard, but I made it till I was 32, assuming I didn't have it and not addressing it at all. And I learned to work with myself, and I was fine, right? So what I'm saying is ADHD and CTE are not even in the same universe of problem. And then autism, frankly, I think I think like I'm getting really way too philosophical here, honestly. Like, that's not really what this channel's about. But since you're talking about it anyway, I think autism, honestly, gets a little bit of a bad rap. Like, people act like it's like a mental health detriment, but I think people with autism are just different people. I don't think that they're worse off. I don't think that it's a detriment. I don't think it brings you down. I know almost all of the smartest people I know in my life, almost all of the successful people I know in my life, have at least some sort of mild form of autism. Except for one guy. I know one guy who's pretty successful, and I don't think he has autism. But pretty much all of the people in my life who are really smart and really good at, not a lot of things, but they got one thing they're really good at it. And they were really good at that, and they generally seem to be doing pretty good in life. And a lot of, I mean, Elon Musk, I'm pretty sure, is autistic, right? You look at his behavior and his social patterns and stuff like that. And that guy's one of the most powerful people in the whole goddamn world. So I think this idea that autism is bad is kind of ridiculous. I really wish we'd stop treating it like that. I really do. My son's autistic, right? He's got a lot of things that he needs to get his shit together on. I don't think the autism's one of them. I think the autism's just that's just part of who you are, and you need to, learn to work with yourself and, perhaps do certain things and, go to therapy, but not to fix yourself. Go to therapy to learn to work with yourself, right? And I just think we need a little bit of a mentality shift when it comes to stuff like autism, honestly. Autism and ADHD, Google says neurological. Well, yeah, they're neurological means a lot of it just means it has to do with your brain. CTE is neurological. That doesn't mean it's the same thing as autism and ADHD. First of all, autism and ADHD are things that you're born with. CTE is something that that happens to you because of traumatic brain injury. And also CTE is only bad. I definitely don't think autism is all bad, and I don't think ADHD is necessarily all bad. It's probably not. I don't think I can think of too many things that having ADHD is advantageous for, but I think for the most part you can function just fine with ADHD if you learn to work with yourself. I have other learning disabilities too. That's fair. That's fair enough. But we were just talking about ADHD and CTE and autism, and as far I don't know, there are lots of different reasons why people have learning disabilities. I would imagine people with CTE probably develop learning disabilities because of the CTE, right? But autism is a spectrum. It is. I know. I will say one thing though. I know this one guy, who's maybe one of the most severely autistic people I've ever met in my life. Also, one of the most insanely intelligent, and at the time, I haven't talked to him in years. But he was the most insanely intelligent person that I knew, just to a level of shock and awe at some of the stuff that this guy was just able to rattle off and figure out and whatever. And he was pretty successful in his endeavors at the time. I don't know what he's doing now, but into my junior year of college, he was doing pretty damn good for himself. So I really don't think autism is a bad thing. I really don't. If you think of it as a bad thing, if you think of it as something that's in your way, then yeah, it'll probably be in your way. But I don't just don't do that. Just don't think of it that. Don't put yourself in that position in the first place. take it as part of who you are, and you have to learn and grow and develop as a person. That is a good point. ADHD and autism can be really, really smart in certain areas. Yeah, well, and that's the thing with ADHD, because ADHD can be very like hyper focused and stuff like that. So you can, I will say like if you like I find for me, and maybe I'm full of shit and it's something else, but like as somebody with ADHD, and knowing what ADHD does, and knowing how it affects my brain and how my brain works in certain ways and stuff like that, I can tell you that if I like when I harness my ADHD, I can actually do more, and I can do a lot of things that a lot of people look at me and they're like, "Wow, how did you pull all that off?" And I'm like, yeah, it wasn't that hard when I really kind of figured out my strategy, right? But I think it is, probably more difficult for people. I think it is more difficult for people who don't have, their brain doesn't work that way, right? So, this is not a mental health channel, so I'm not trying to get too deep into discussions about that, because I'm not an expert, but I'm also down to be helpful to people and whatever, and it's also like less depressing than talking about the Bengals right now. So. ADHD, attention hyperactive disorder, can hyper focus or be hyperactive, mostly hyperactive. Yeah, I think there's multiple different ways that it works, but I think they're typically referring, like the hyper part of ADHD, I believe is mostly referring to the brain. So when they talk about hyperactivity, they talk about your brain going 1,000,000 miles a second, which my brain does that sometimes too. And the hyper focus is like, it's not that you're always hyper focusing, right? Because like, I mean, I get distracted really fucking easily, but when I do get into a focus, I get into like a deep focus, right? Like, and when you can learn to harness that and point it in the right direction, it helps. But no, yeah, my brain can be super overactive sometimes too. Yeah. Anyway, it's like almost midnight. And the Bengals are bad and suck, and I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win again for a while. Got this game against the Lions, Packers. I don't know if I can bring myself to pick them to lose against the Steelers. I don't know if I have that. I don't know if I have that mental fortitude to actually pick the Bengals to lose against the Steelers right now. Maybe I would in a different situation, but right now I don't know if I can mentally process believing the Bengals are gonna lose to the Steelers, because I'm gotta be a little delusional. Yeah, Kyle, become a fan of the real football team in Ohio, the Buckeyes. No, absolutely fucking not, Jim. God, might as well just ask me to be a Steelers fan. Piece of goddamn fucking garbage organization that is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Absolutely not. I'm not going to be a fan of the Buckeyes. You got to be out of your mind. Yep. I don't mind talking with you guys. The one thing I don't really want... The only thing I'm going to push back against talking about... And I think I've said this before. The only thing that I'll push back about talking about on this channel is politics. And that's not because I don't like politics. Like... I had a minor in poli-sci when I was in college the first time. I talk about politics with people I know all the time, but I don't want to talk about it on this channel, because I want this channel to be like politics can be so fucking depressing, and it's so pervasive in all of our lives. And like football's not, right? Football is football. Like if my football team sucks, then my football team sucks. Then that's just the fucking, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Politics is very, very important and makes a big impact on everybody's lives. And so we come to stuff like this to get away from shit like that. And that's what I want this channel to be, a nice place. Not necessarily a nice place. Obviously, it's a very depressing place right now for Bengals fans. But a place where we can all like hang out and have fun and not be at each other's throats. So that's the only reason. Like, if y'all want to talk about politics in the comments, I'm not going to stop you. Probably also won't put you up on the screen, though, because I don't really want to participate in politics discussions while I'm live, right? You want to come talk to me about it, like, personally, like a direct message after the show or something, whatever, but I don't want to talk about it live. I don't want it to be on my channel. y'all can do that in the chat if you want, but I'm not gonna. That's the one thing I think I would say I do not want to talk about on the channel, right? I was talking to Mikey about that the other day because he was asking me about a political situation, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about the situation. Let's talk about it. I'll tell you all about how I think about it, because we're not recording right now, right? When I'm on stage, there are certain things that I want to maintain, right? Only heard about Bo Nix's name about week 14 or so having a great game. You only heard about Bo Nix's name in week 14. He was a first-round draft pick. What do you mean you only heard about his name in week 14? What? Completely fair. I try to avoid politics. I will avoid it on the channel. I don't avoid politics in my life. I think they have their place and have their importance and whatever. But on this channel, politics are not something I want to talk about. It's just not. That's not the place for it. That's all it is. Oregon Ducks and Auburn, I think, before that. Before what? Before what? Huh? What? I'm so lost. I can't even. College teams. What about college teams? I know they're college teams, but like what? Are you talking about, like, I was complaining about Ohio State being garbage? Are you saying Oregon Ducks and Auburn are garbage? No, they're not. Huh? Are you saying that you're fans of those teams? You've got me totally. Bo Nix played for them. That's right. I forgot Bo Nix played at Auburn. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. But, that depends on whether you follow college. I don't know if Jim follows college football or not. I didn't really know too much about Bo Nix until I started studying the draft that year, right? I don't really follow college football too much. But I do think I peripherally, because of the draft, I think I peripherally knew he played at Auburn, but totally never really thought about it. Anyway, like I said, it's about midnight. I'm going to go. Maybe try to finish the rest of the script. I don't fucking know. I don't think I'm going to have time to record tonight. I don't even know if I have the mental willpower to make myself record tonight either, because I don't like football. I just don't like football right now. Football is unpleasant and makes me sad. But this channel makes me feel a little bit better. Life in general is good. So, fuck the Bengals, right? But the Bengals can't hurt. The Bengals have already hurt me enough in my life. I don't need to let them hurt me anymore, right? Fuck them. Fuck them. If that's the way you're going to fucking play, then fuck you too, Bengals. Alright. Good night, everybody. I'm out of here.